Welcome to season 6, episode 15 of The Will Reads. And episode, I don't even know what number we're on. 133?
It's the next episode.
It's the next episode. We're continuing going through this book, working through Lord of Chaos. And as you can notice, Chris is not here yet. He actually had some other engagement that was more important than us, apparently. So he's gonna come on eventually. He told me at least. So we're gonna go ahead and start without him, and he'll just pop in eventually. But before I introduce our wonderful guest tonight and we get into this whole thing, I do some housekeeping stuff. I got to get out of the way first. We do have some new Patreons. One, we have Kevin. So thank you, Kevin, for your patronage. And thank you, Katie, for upping your level. So we always like to thank our newbies there. So thank you. Also, as far as giveaways go, in case you're new listening to us, we like to give away stuff all the time. We do have a Patreon. We do sell merch. We do make a little money, and most of that goes to giving it away back to our fans, whether on social media, Facebook or Twitter or wherever we are. So I thought we might do a giveaway tonight. I didn't have one planned, but I'm holding my Frosty mug. So we have a Will Reads Frosty mug. They're nice.
Yeah.
We can give away to someone in chat. I don't know. What do you want to do so they can win it, Ian? Or ask Nerdy and Colorist. I know this is kind of the spot. I just made this up as we go.
How about the first one to answer this math problem correctly? The math problem is 5 times 6 divided by 4 plus 3.
Do you know the answer? 'Cause I didn't write that down.
Oh my God.
No one's guessing. Okay. All right. So let's keep going. Everybody's like, really? We're doing math to start this out? Thanks, Ian.
Well, and it's a hard question too, because you have to have a calculator. There's no way that you could do that without a calculator. Unless you're like
10.5, our first guess. Answer is always 42.
I want to say that's right. I mean, that's the secret weapon.
I think 10.5 is the answer.
We would also accept boobs. I'm surprised Zool didn't respond boobs, because that usually is my answer to everything.
We'll give one to Iris and to Caleb. I think is our light-blighted fool. So light-blighted fool got 10.5. I think that's the right answer, and then 42 is always the right answer.
And there was much rejoicing.
Yay! All right, so that's enough for the giveaway stuff. As far as other things going on. Still climbing the total downloads. We just hit 260,000 downloads on our podcast. So still going strong there. Might turn that way to 300,000 downloads. But yeah, so fun times. We have guests. That's more important than anything else. So welcome. We like to welcome all the way from the Great Blight, Nerdy and Clarus. Yeah, we call Canada the Blight. Sorry, it's north. Yeah, Canada. Yeah.
That checks out.
Straight from Shia Ghul, it's Nerdy and Clarus.
So yeah, tell us about. I mean, I know a lot of people also that are here tonight watch you guys, but there are some people that might listen to us that don't know about you. So tell everybody about what you guys do.
We're nerds. Hi, how's it going? Let's go.
Yeah, we are Nerdy Nightly. We get Nerdy Nightly. We thought we'd share it with you. Is the slogan that started all of this. Mm-hmm. We do reactions. We do a podcast called the Nerdy Wordy Book Club, where we talk currently about the Wheel of Time. We just are about to start book 7, I think.
Yes.
Crown of Swords.
Correct.
On Friday. So we're very excited to get into that next episode of the books.
The next episode of
we're so good at this.
We're like
job.
Very professional.
Right in.
You can tell. Yeah. Obviously, you can just don't ask the mods. Actually, that's a mistake.
I don't know how to be in a YouTube video that I didn't start. Because we start every YouTube video the exact same way, and it gets a momentum going. And now I'm like, oh yeah, what do? We do everything. If it's on the internet, we've done it at least once. And that sounds terrible. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, wow. I wasn't going to go that far.
Goes pretty deep.
How many girls?
Check out our YouTube and you can see what we do. That's a good place to see what we do.
Yes.
Or her YouTube, youtube.com/c/Clarus.
That's me. We also are I guess noobs to the Wheel of Time. Yeah. We found the Wheel of Time from reacting to the trailers for the show that dropped. And then ended up doing spoiler chats for the show. And people were like, hey, you guys should read the books if you never have. And so that's kind of how we found the Wheel of Time. And it's been a blast.
Yeah, it was always one of those series where I had, in my nerddom, in my many Comic-Cons of my youth, I had been told over and over again, hey, you should read the Wheel of Time. It's like nerd homework. And then I heard the word homework and I was like, look, I flunked grade 10 because I didn't hand in any homework. I'm not going to do more homework as an adult. And so it wasn't until someone in our chat was like, hey, you could monetize this. And I was like, hey, I like money. That I was like, okay, I'll read the Wheel of Time. And here we are, 9 months later. And it's been pretty amazing. I love it.
Yeah, we say every week that, book club is always the highlight. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're a lot kinder to yourselves than I am to Ian and Chris. Chris just jumped in a little bit, but he looked like he's driving, so I kicked him out because I don't want him doing this and driving at the same time. So.
I'm fairly certain that is against it.
It didn't work out well last time I tried it. So.
Yeah, I'm like, did you run over something, get a flat tire?
I ran over something. It ripped the plastic guard out from underneath. That was shoved. Like I was on the road.
Don't podcast really or YouTube. Fault. Like live and drive. It's, kids, this
Americans,
is a lesson,
man.
In case you ever want to start content creating, don't do it.
I was also smoking and drinking a beer and eating pizza, so I don't know that it was the podcasting that messed me up.
This is why we live in the blight, okay? Because this shit doesn't happen up here.
And he's back.
Yeah,
Chris is trying to come back in, but anyway, where were we?
I believe that we were discussing my youth. I was born in the frosty wilderness of Canada. My mother had recently killed a bear with her bare hands. And
as one does.
A moose blessed my
your
birth
mom's also
with
a bear?
its antlers. No, my mom's more of an otter.
Yeah, you're not that hairy.
I'm not that
with
hairy.
Bare hands.
No. Okay.
No, we don't have the right to bear arms in Canada because we can fight with our bare hands. We don't need it. We're too strong.
I like it.
It's a country of lumberjacks and lumberjanes. You know what I mean?
So what I was saying is you're a lot nicer because you've been doing it for 9 months. So you're new to the Wheel of Time, whereas we've been doing this for almost 3 years, and we're still in book 6 because Ian and Chris are not allowed to leave or read any faster than that. So it's 2 chapters a week for your first time through. I'm a sadist, I guess, and just like to torture them.
I think that you guys have it right. We messed up. We did it wrong because now we're gonna run out of Wheel of Time, and then
what?
We have to hope that our audience goes to another series with us.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that that's going to be a really interesting. And we're fortunate because we do so many different things that we have audiences for different kinds of content. But there is a genuine we're at the halfway point, and we're going to take a 2-month break from the podcast when the show comes out, and our Friday show will be 2.5 long breakdowns of the episodes because I'll have so much to say, I'm sure.
You meant to say 2.5 hours long?
Yeah.
2.5 hour breakdowns of the episodes. That's what I said.
2.5.
That's what I said. 2.5 hour breakdowns of the episodes.
The word hour was not in there. I just wanted to clarify that it was a method.
I'm going to go back and listen to this podcast, and I will prove that I was right. It's gonna be interesting because we'll probably. I have a feeling we're gonna end sometime at the end of next year, and I'm really hoping that Brando Sando puts out the last of the Stormlight Archives book so that we have a smooth transition out of Wheel of Time.
Yeah. And just to let you know, Chris is actually ordering something through a drive-thru right now as we speak. So,
let me in.
You're driving. It's not safe.
I'll be home in 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, if you want to join back in 10 minutes, we'll stall for 10 minutes and just talk.
It's okay. This is not my first time.
Yes, no, the problem is that YouTube will delete this video.
Oh, will it?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to drive and
well, I'm parked right now, YouTube.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I love y'all. I'll be back in
10 minutes.
15.
All right. Sounds good.
See you soon.
Yeah, Sanderson next. That's another thing. I mean, Brandon Sanderson just announced that he's doing Mistborn into a TV show or movie or something like that. So that might be another avenue you guys can go down. And there's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a good crossover for Wheel of Time fans because Sanderson finished the Wheel of Time, and a lot of Wheel of Time fans are Sanderson fans. Not all, but a lot.
Yeah. I'm just getting into it, so
Yeah.
I've just always wanted to read The Way of Kings, and so the giving myself an excuse to read The Way of Kings and make it my job
It's good.
is beneficial
It's
for my
nice.
schedule.
Yes.
It's good if you can get through the first 400, 500 pages of world building before the actual story starts.
And this is interesting, right? Because let's get back to Wheel of Time.
Sure.
We've been told about the slog. This from the trailer reaction, day one, we've been told about the slog. And
nobody can agree on what it is or when it is or where it is. It's great.
Oh yeah,
So-
everyone disagrees. But my thing with the slog is that I'm like, well, I don't know that we'll ever experience it because we're doing it in order to hang out with our friends on Fridays.
Right.
And so it's become sort of this weird, like, it might have been a slog when the books were coming out, but for us, it'll be like, oh, this is what we get to talk to our people about on Friday. And I think that the excitement of that will push us through in a way that we won't really ever experience it.
Yeah. In my opinion, the slog was more when people had to wait for books, and there was a couple of slower books where it's a lot more political. I'm not going to get any spoilers away because Ian as well, but it does slow down as far as action goes, and then you have to wait for 2 years before another book. It feels a lot slower. But if you just go right on to the next one, it's not that long. It just it doesn't feel as long if you don't have to wait.
Meanwhile, it's going to take us 6 years to get to the series.
It's going to take
Thanks,
us.
Alan.
Yeah.
I feel that. Like, I'm really excited for the book that is the democratically elected process, where they take 2 years to do the run up to the midterms and then 2 years to do the run up to the presidential. It's going to be really. I'm excited for that, honestly. My favorite stuff on the West Wing is when they're just running for president for a whole season of television. It's great.
It's great. Fantastic. So one thing we always do as well in our podcast is just talk about our personal lives. I'll be brief because you guys probably have a lot better stuff to talk about than I do. I know I didn't ask you guys to say this, but I'm going to ask you questions about it in a second. But as far as what going on in my life, I went to the first black tie event I've been to since COVID finished this last weekend. So that was fun. I got to go actually put a tux on. So the theme was like pirates. So you could be either in a tux or dressed as a pirate. Someone dropped out from my company and they gave me a last minute, the day before, hey, you got tickets, you're going with your wife. And I'm like, I can't put together a pirate costume that fast. My wife's like, you're wearing a tux anyway. So I went black tie. I did pirate a skeleton. They had little figurines. I stole it because I got drunk off rum and I thought it'd be cool for the kids. So,
Alan, we are on video right now. I don't know if you know this, but we are broadcasting this.
I also donated a lot of money to the charity
Admission
before.
of guilt.
So.
There you go.
It works its way out.
You paid for the skeleton.
Exactly.
You just didn't realize it.
Financial nepotism.
So that's how that worked. But yeah, so it was fun just to get out of the house and go to one of those things. It's been years since I've been to one, and it was good. It was fun. Also, my son, I have 3 kids. My son started soccer today. First time ever. So I'm entering that stage of my life where now I'm going to be a soccer dad. So
little kid soccer is fantastic.
Oh yeah, magnet ball. They just follow the ball around.
It's great.
It's
or
fantastic.
they sit in the goal and they're me, and you're just like, I'm not running. I will
that
block
was-
this goal, but I'm not moving.
You're speaking my language. My freshman year in college, they had a intramural soccer team. It wasn't like the varsity NCAA crazy soccer team, but like intramural. And the kids in my dorm room were like crazy good soccer. Like, we need a goalie. Our goalie quit. Like, I don't know how to play. It's like, just sit in the goalie and do nothing. Like, we'll just keep the ball to the other side. I'm like, I can do that. And literally, I was on the team, but I just sat in the goal box the entire game. Like, do we win, guys? Yay! Let's go get beers.
Picking daisies.
I managed to my sports career growing up was I was a goalie in hockey for 9 years. I was a goalie in lacrosse for 7 years. I was a goalie in soccer for 6 years. I was like, I have found my calling. I am big and I will stand here.
And I have asthma, so I'm not running.
That was a big part of it. I wanted to play sports, but I had asthma, so it was just easier.
Wait. So how tall are you? See if you're bigger than Chris.
I'm 6'4".
Okay. How big is Chris? Well, ask me gets here.
6'2".
I'm
3,
taller.
4.
Whatever it
big
is,
dude.
I'm taller.
Yeah, but he also does strongman competitions and benches
I'm not strong.
So he's big. not tall, just
Mhm.
big.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ian, what's going on in the military world?
Well, those of you watching can see in the background, I'm still in the barracks. So I have very sketchy internet. I'm sure y'all have noticed, but at least on my end, every few seconds, everything freezes. So if there's a delay in me talking or I just disappear for a bit, sorry, guys. I told Alan I wasn't going to bring this up, but the more I dig into it, it's just hilarious to me. I can't get in the details of what happened, but let's just say there was an incident where I got counseled because my leadership believed that I didn't do something I was supposed to.
I love how you're trying
And,
to see this all
everybody's frozen.
politically.
Nope, now Alan's frozen.
No, we're still
No,
here.
everybody's frozen.
We're still here.
Okay, nope, I see you now.
Okay.
All right. And so from my perspective, and I've been doing this Army thing for a while, my leadership, what's the nice way to say it? Well, they failed to do what they were supposed to do. So I said, fuck this shit, I'm going home. Now, they wanted to, my squad leader is the same rank as I. It's a weird situation, but it happens sometimes. And I am not a fan of his style of leadership. Unfortunately, you see it a lot in the Army, especially at Fort Bragg. Anyways, he wanted to counsel me, then recommend me for an Article 15. He thought that I would just go there and take my lips and get my licks and get my pee-pee slapped and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. But instead, I went in front of the commander and I demanded a court-martial. So... yeah, so I've been spending a lot of time with.
He literally
people here,
called
and
me
we're going
up
through that process, and
you literally called me
now
up after the meeting.
the command is making up their mind if they actually want to go through with it or not. Yeah, those of you that have been listening for a while, you probably go, well, that sounds about right. That's that's par for the course. Yeah. Anyways, I can't get into details of it until it's over, and then I will. And those of y'all that are gasping, going, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you would do that." Once you find out like everything that happened, you're gonna be like, "Those motherfuckers! What a bunch of pieces of shit!" Because that's what I say to myself about 10 times a day.
Welcome to the U.S. military.
Yeah. Now I've been in for a long time. This is the first time I've run into this situation. I've seen it. I've tried to counsel others that were going through it, and calm some people down that are just losing their minds for no reason. But this is the first time I've gone through it. But
I just love the whole yelling.
Yeah,
I
toxic
demand
leadership is bad.
trial by court martial.
Got to be careful who you put in charge. I'll just leave it at that. Now, in more
Yeah,
awesome news,
I would like to mention this is being recorded and broadcast live.
yeah, no, all of that I've already told them.
I feel
all
like
of that.
we're on a watch list now because of what you just said.
No. The thing about him being a piece of shit, I've already said to his face and loudly so everybody else can hear, and I'm A-okay with that because I can defend my point. Like it's easily defendable. I mean, when you look around and everybody else is nodding, like, yeah, well, I'm not the only one who thinks it. So, anyways, in more awesome news, somebody just said, at least I didn't throw fireworks at him. Let me tell you, if I had fireworks in my back pocket at that time, I'd have thrown that shit in his office and shut the door.
No, that's our community trolling me.
Okay.
There's going to be a lot of fireworks jokes. There's going to be horses and humans racing each other jokes. There's another one that I'm not remembering well.
No, Ian's the firework guy as well. He
he?
was known in college to take fireworks and throw them into parties and things like that in the middle of dance floors and that friend.
Oh no, our firework thing is that
we had like about a 50-minute long discussion about when Matt took the Illuminators fireworks and blew a hole through the wall, and Nerdy over here was like, there's no way. And everybody else was like, yeah, they're explosives. And so we had like a very in-depth discussion.
I understand that they're explosives. My point was that if you shove them into a hole that already has exhausts on both ends, the amount of energy that will be expelled out of those two exhausts would circumvent the ability of those fireworks to blow a man-sized hole into that hole. There's already a hole there.
Hold on,
not speaking from personal experience, but if you stuff a ton of fireworks into a shark, nothing happens. I don't know, but nothing happens.
Okay, but you would still be putting them in something, whereas there's exhausts.
It's okay.
Like the
Okay.
reason why when they put a breach charge on a door, the backplate is Kevlar is so that all of the force goes through the breach charge forward, right? I will hold that I'm still right about the fucking fireworks thing.
Wait, so Alan, did you mention the shark? Because I froze.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
he did.
yeah. That's the best empirical
Well,
evidence I have.
I didn't say we actually did it, but
Oh,
I said if we had.
yeah.
If you had.
The hypothetical shark was already dead. It
Yeah,
was
it was
just
washed
science.
up on
it was
shore.
science at that
At
point.
that point, we wanted to see if we could blow it up because it was
Of
dead
course.
washed up on the beach.
Right.
So
A lot of fireworks, and it didn't do anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No.
I will stand by this until I die, and I might die because of being frustrated with the people who watch my podcast. Is all I'm
You're
saying.
gonna try and prove them wrong, light a bunch of fireworks, and that's gonna be what does you in.
No, I don't fuck around with fireworks. Ever since who was the football player that like lost a?
Yeah.
There was a football player who like lost part of his hand a couple years ago on the 4th of July.
yeah, there was. I can't
on the
remember who it
Giants,
was.
I think.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
he
yeah, one of
literally
their
like came
defensive
back the
ends.
next season with like 3 fingers, and I was like,
Yeah.
nope, not touching him.
But he's still awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, he's still great, but I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
my hands.
right.
So I was going to ask you. I know we usually share personal life. You guys just got back from Disney, and that's pretty cool. And I don't know if you want to share it here, but I thought that was really awesome. Did you
Yeah,
guys-
no, I think we'll share it.
Yeah.
We just got back from a 2-week trip.
Yeah, we drove down. So we're in Toronto. We drove down to Atlanta for Dragon Con.
Yeah.
So we got to meet a lot of our other like internet friends and community there, which was really awesome.
That's awesome.
It was just a 5-day party. It was crazy. And then we continued that drive down to Orlando, spent 3 days at Disney, and then drove all the way back up.
Yeah, our second anniversary is on the 20th.
The 20th, yeah.
Okay.
And so we decided to take a week off from the content and spend it in Disney with my best friend and his wife.
Okay.
So we spent 3 days doing that, and then we got right back to it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
How's
so that was
DragonCon?
really fun.
How's Dragon Con?
Unexpected.
I've always wanted to go. I've been to Jordan Con. It's the only con I've ever been to, and I've only been to one because COVID. And I was never a con goer, so I don't. I
Mhm.
heard Dragon Con's 10 times bigger than Jordan Con. It was a lot of fun when we went.
Dragon Con, like there's no comparison. Dragon Con
Yeah.
was our 7th con this year.
Mhm.
There is simply nothing like it.
Yeah.
It is
And we'd been told, and
Yeah.
nothing that anyone said like actually prepared us for like the scale that was Dragon Con. Because it's just a huge, like it's a huge party, literally. Like people are there all day. The cosplay game is like 11 out of 10. It's wild.
Yeah.
There's panels that
Okay.
run until like 4 in the morning.
Wow.
There's
it's 24/7.
Are they?
Yeah,
Oh god,
they're-
yeah.
The thing about Dragon Con that's so different from every other con is that the majority of the con takes place in 3 hotels that are connected by these sky bridges.
With
So
like
it's
2 other
Whoa.
hotels as well.
the
Like,
Hilton, the Marriott, and the Hyatt.
mhm.
And so you don't have to go outside. And
Okay.
people just, every other con I've ever been to kind of winds down at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. And maybe there's a party. Usually those are invite only. Like
And you
they're
have
hard
to
to get
go
into.
somewhere.
They're
to
somewhere
get to
else
them.
because the convention closes. But because Dragon Con takes place in hotels that don't close, you end up in this position where the con doesn't end and everyone is just drunk all the time.
Yeah.
And it
Nice.
is the fact that we do not have COVID and that we were able to go to Disney and test a negative every day
Yeah.
is a miracle,
Yeah.
considering how many people were just grinding on each other for 5 days.
Yeah.
But did
yeah.
anybody release a possum into the lobby?
I hope not.
God,
Okay.
no.
I don't
So,
think anyone
Jo-
would have noticed.
Yeah, who would
Jo-
do that?
Who would do that at Jordan Con? No.
You have to at Jordan Con though. You kind of have to.
Oh, we couldn't find a
It's like a
badger.
tradition.
But like literally, I was outside and there's a little baby possum that was walking up to the doors, and I might have just opened the door for the possum.
Yeah, kind of ushered it
As a
inside.
gentleman,
As a gentleman
would,
should.
you hold
And then
the door.
Ian grabbed some random guy's cowboy hat and then and captured it and carried it out
Oh my
while wearing a
God.
dress.
Well,
Because there was
Ian entry.
entry, yeah, and
He was
while wearing
instrumental. Yep.
yeah, you were wearing a dress because there was a dance and you didn't know there's a dance, so you needed to borrow a dress for the dance. So
Right.
Of course.
Exactly.
I will say, if anyone
things
has ever
happen.
seen a real badger in real life, they are so dangerous
yeah,
that like don't do that.
So are raccoons.
No, raccoons are fun.
Yeah.
Raccoons are the best animal on the planet, but
Trash pandas.
badgers can weigh a shit ton, and a badger can like take a human out. Like,
Yeah.
don't put like if it's a baby badger, maybe, but do not release a badger, Jordan Con, because I'm gonna be the fucker who has to go like chase it down.
But yeah, we already bought our tickets for next year's Dragon Con.
And
There
we'll
he
be Jordan Con
is.
next year.
And yes,
Oh, look
we will
at
be
you!
at
Look
Jordan
at
Con.
look at Chris looking all spiffy.
You know, every now and then I do have to dress up and look. I'm up on the mic tonight.
Spiffy Chris.
Yeah. So welcome to late night
Yeah.
Yeah.
late night with Kuma, the big boomer. Hit you with the 1-2.
We just have Chris read stuff because of his
Sultry voice.
voice. There you go.
Sensual.
Sensual seduction.
Anyways, so we just finished all of our kind of a personal stuff while waiting for you, Chris. Anything you want to share before we actually start talking about Wheel of Time?
It's been a hell of a week. It's just been a blast we are finalizing wedding stuff, so we're getting the guest list finalized. I am winning that contest. I made it into a contest today.
Okay.
I only have a few people left that I need RSVP, and a couple of them
for
are
the
about to
wedding?
get booted. Yeah, for the wedding.
Okay.
Other than
Chris is getting married next month.
Oh wow!
Congrats.
Yeah.
thank you.
You better get those RSVPs in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like the deadline is the 23rd, but we only have like 20 some people, so I'm like calling and texting. Like, if you don't get this shit done now, like you're just not coming. Thanks, I appreciate that. Maybe I will. You know, I do have a secondary line of this podcast based on Brander Sanderson's books.
Yeah, we do the
so
Cosmic stuff. Yeah.
We do have the Cosmere stuff. Does that count? Maybe I do something different.
Sure.
Maybe I do something in a low voice.
Sure.
What else has happened? This weekend went by really fast. Not much. I mean, a lot going on, but not a lot going on. Went to a friend's birthday party. Hung out, cleaned up around the house, meal prepped, and worked out. And that was my weekend.
Okay.
Oh, and didn't I also record something? I think I did. I can't remember. My weeks.
Did we record something?
Maybe
Did
not
we?
for this. I don't know. Did we?
Did we? I can't remember. Anyway.
No, we talked about recording. I finished book 3. So
Okay. Yeah. There we go.
that was the other thing I did. This
Oh yeah.
weekend.
Is Chris taller than Nerdy? How tall are you, Chris?
Me? I'm 6'6".
Oh, I was way off.
Dang, I lost that one.
So close.
So close. 6'6". He's our resident loyal Ogier. Which you still need to cosplay that next year. That would be great.
Yeah, we do need to figure that out.
Yeah.
It's just all the eyebrows, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get into these chapters since we got everybody together. What?
Now, I do have one more positive thing in personal life, which is hilarious. So Meredith and I had to order a new bed because the bed I had before that we're now using,
It didn't last.
it broke. And both of us are
Is
thinking,
the positive news that you
How
had
did it
sex
break?
with your wife?
so but
That
we'll-
is the positive news.
this is where it gets funny. We didn't think anything of it. We're like, that's hilarious. High five. Good job, babe. And we just go to take it apart, stick it in the garage, and we ordered like a basic metal frame for now. But we have a lot of little kids in the house, and they're all asking questions like, oh, you got a new bed? We're like, yeah. And they're like, what happened in the old bed? We're like, it broke, so we're getting a new one. How did it break? Things just break sometimes. Now they're like,
When a man loves a woman.
You know when you get up and you jump on your bed? Well, kind of like that.
Kind of like that.
wait for them to go to
Oh, man.
school, or like, we're in blended families, or you go to the other parents' house and be
My
like,
mom and dad were
Mom
jumping
and
on the
Ian
bed.
broke their bed. They're getting a new one.
They were jumping on it.
The parent teacher conference is just gonna be so awkward.
In 10 years from now, when they know what the deal is, I'm like, remember that one time?
Speaking,
they were helping to carry the pieces out to the garage. They're gonna be like, that bed was broke as shit. What did y'all do?
So the most awkward parent teacher conference I ever heard.
Yeah.
Now we'll get these chapters. My niece, when she was young, like first grade, her parents decided to show her Gone with the Wind. Because they thought that'd be good for a first grader to see, and they forgot about the Nazi part of it. And they got there,
Or the rape scene,
or any of that. So she asked her parents, like, what are Nazis? And her parents were like, they're just people that think they're better than everybody else, and they're really bad. So she goes to school the next day and calls one of her classmates Nazi. So she gets a call from the teacher. Saying like, what are you teaching your child?
Oh my god, I have a similar kind of similar.
What's wrong though?
Well, I was born in like a small town in Ontario. I grew up in Calgary, but I was like 3, and my mom was watching a Hitler documentary, and I was like a parrot. I don't ask me why. So there was like a church party that we went to because that's what you did. And so in the middle of the church party, I got up and I just said, God is dead. And we weren't allowed back to church. And then we moved to Calgary. So
sounds about right.
Yeah.
Awesome. You guys ready to talk about Wheel of Time?
Sure. What's the Wheel of Time?
Sure. Let's go. Chapter 29. Fire and Spirit. So we're gonna jump right into this chapter. Nynaeve is outside the
That's
little
what we
tower.
recorded for our patrons.
Oh yeah.
The reading
we
of
did.
this chapter.
We did do a live reaction for our patrons, yes. So Nynaeve's outside the little tower, and she's just kind of stewing like Nynaeve does at this point because she
hates the little tower.
Because she hates the little tower. She can't break her block.
likes
They're all
big tower.
trying. Yeah. So that's how we
doesn't
start.
like the really big tower.
Right. So that's how we start this chapter.
She likes Land's Tower.
She does like Lance Tower.
I like Lance Tower too. Daniel Henney can get it.
So
Welcome
that's
to the reads.
that's where we start is with her hanging out. We're in Nynaeve's point of view, and we're outside the little tower. So any thoughts? I know we had this live reaction, but you guys have saved a lot of your stuff for this. Obviously Nynaeve's worried about her block. She's focusing on that. She's also eventually going to get.
So first and foremost, I want to say I think we had a little win here because we saw the title Fire and Spirit. I think we assume that Fire and Spirit meant that there was going to be use of this to do something very special and important.
Yeah.
Didn't we think that?
Yep. Well, to be fair though, we have been around every corner, like guessing that sooner or later they were going to fix this.
Take a win where we can get a win.
Sure. That's like every day waking up saying it's going to rain today. It's going to rain today. It's going to rain today. And eventually we were right.
Oh, our chat is always like, you guys got your prediction right. And I'm like, there's over 70 hours of this podcast.
Yeah, which one?
We've said a lot of things.
Yeah. Which one?
Which one? Yeah. You guys did predict Swan. I didn't think you guys. Logain was the one that surprised you guys.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
We had the same moment, and I think that what was so surprising about the Logain of it all was that I didn't think that someone who I didn't think that Saidin could heal Saidar or vice versa. And so the fact that there's that overlap where they're so separate in so many things, but in this one kind of healing is one of these few times where the two powers meet in the middle is a really cool idea. And then obviously we'll talk about like the fallout and the ways the two different powers react to being stitched back together. But just out of the gate, I was like, oh yeah, at some point Nynaeve will probably heal Swan and Leanne. I never saw Logain coming.
But just to go backwards, everybody's ignoring Nynaeve at this point. Yeah, they're giving her side eyes, like she's feeling like.
Well, she's useless now. She's not giving anything.
she's like, clearly Brigitte must have said something because even Uno's eyeing me weirdly. Like, this just is not my day. She's all in her feelings.
Well, she's trying to plan an escape, and Brigitte's been told to like stop her. So she's kind of upset about all that.
Yeah.
But she's also like, I want to escape out of here, and also nobody's paying attention to me. And I'm like, Nynaeve, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
This is what you need.
Honestly, the best part of it is that at first Nynaeve is like, Uno keeps looking at me. He's ready. When I ask for those horses, he's ready. He's like, he's waiting for my signal. And then she finds out like a couple of pages later that he's been instructed to, under no circumstances, help her to leave. And she gets mad, but when does she not? Right?
Yeah.
So.
And then Tom shows back up, which was fun. It's always fun when Tom and Julian show back up, especially Tom, because we all love Tom. We stand Tom on this podcast. He comes in with news from the rest of the world, especially about the White Cloaks. And Elaine, of course, wants to know news about her, what happened and things like that. She gets some information about Orgase here. That's the more important part. Of course, Elaine doesn't buy any of it. Says, no, she's dead. It doesn't matter. She would never go to the White Cloaks to raise an army to go back and march on Endor.
Oh, little how she knows. I mean, did she really intentionally go for the White Cloaks, though? No, she didn't.
She ended up intentionally going to them.
Yeah.
Like that, it was a matter of like last resort. But
yeah,
she does ride into what's his butts?
Amadicia and Niall.
No, the guy, not Pedro Niall, the oh my god. The king, what's his name?
Oh, when she goes to the king at first, whatever. Yeah, whatever his name is.
Yeah, that guy.
That guy. There's too many names.
I mean, but clearly,
no.
Yeah, she went to talk to the king to get his help, and it just so happens that his rule is being more or less ruled by the White Cloaks. So,
She do that.
Everyone knows that.
No. Orgase goes in going like, I'm gonna have to deal with that Pedro Niall at some point.
I don't know. I want her to have more gumption than that. I want her to be worth more. I'm sure she dies soon enough, but
yeah.
I don't want it.
Wait, was that confirmation?
No, I don't. I don't want it.
No. And like I said, Elaine doesn't believe any of it anyway. So thinks her mom's dead. Kind of just wants to bury it.
Which gets into something about these books that bugs me is characters who hear rumors and just buy into them wholeheartedly. As if the like chain of telephone across Randland is something that is at any point reliable. But there are a number of times where people like hear like, oh yeah, Orgase is dead. And people are like, yeah, okay, sure, she's dead. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, some random guy just told you that in a bar.
Yeah.
And Gawain goes on a vengeful streak just to kill Rand and goes on a crazy power trip. Killed his sister. Yeah.
It's a country of people who read the headline on Twitter and never open the article, and they just buy whatever the headline is.
That is a lot of America.
I know that that's real life, but I want to believe that in Randland they're better than us.
Are people that share onion stories as if they're real?
Oh God, yeah.
Remember when like the Onion would like circulate as news because people just like didn't realize it was satire, and you're like,
yeah. That's it's happened more times, even on major news networks where they pulled up sources that are satire news.
Yeah.
Well, Ben Meckler, incredible writer, but Ben Meckler has tweets where he'll tweet as if he was at a movie premiere, but he adds something super ridiculous in the middle of the tweet, and so the beginning and the end of the tweet feel like real like news coverage, but the middle is always something like heinously ridiculous. And sites like The Verge and these big publications will publish his tweets because they're just trying to accumulate as much fodder for their site as possible. And so they'll just throw it in there. And then suddenly you'll have like real tweets next to Ben Meckler being like, Cats was an absolute delight of a musical feature. It was crazy when Judi Dench ripped the head off Idris Elba's Mr. Mistopheles. And you're like, how did you, it's a tweet. It's not even that long. Like, how did you not read the whole tweet before you put it in your article?
Yep.
Because they never saw Cats.
Lucky them.
Hey, I recommend drugs, and then cats.
What
In
the
that order.
the Taylor Swift version of Cats
Yeah,
or
yeah,
the
yeah.
actual? Okay, I never
Do
seen
not
it.
watch that movie sober.
Yeah.
But if you do have like if you have a good like indica that you like, eat it, smoke it. However, if it's legal where you are, it's legal where we are. That's why we're able to say that.
It's legal in Virginia.
Yeah, and then enjoy Cats because it's a movie.
It is.
I want the butthole cut so bad.
No, all right. No.
They did a whole cut where they CGI'd buttholes on all the cats, and then they didn't put that out, but it exists.
So,
and I want it.
Wheel of Time.
So my whole thing I want to do is actually redo the entire Wheel of Time TV show with laugh tracks and do Seinfeld like bass lines to it. And
it's a funny idea. It's a funny idea, but you're going to end up the people who are going to really like that are going to be a side of the fandom that you don't want to engage with.
I know. I know.
Because they'll think that you're making a commentary that you're not making.
Exactly. I know. And that's why I'm not doing it.
That's a tough line.
It's a line, yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. But yeah, so so we can move on. Tom shows up, that goes fine. And Nynaeve's kind of still stewing, so she decides to go and study Logain.
Well, she's been given even more reason to stew. I mean, she keeps getting bypassed. People keep looking down on her. They're like, your studies are going horribly. You're a horrible person. You're worthless. And then, my time, Aes Sedai wouldn't trample on me, but she's really not even worth dealing with. So she's getting beat up, emotionally beat down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Although her and Elaine do have a beautiful moment before they reach Logain, which is like I think is an incredible like pivotal moment for Nynaeve over the course of the entire series, because Nynaeve is able to admit that she was wrong, and then her and Elaine fight about it.
Yeah.
Communication is really strong in the Wheel of Time. I don't know if you've seen that theme yet. I know how far you guys are, but it's a very strong part of these books. That
I have faith that it gets better as we go along.
That communication is better. Oh,
sure. Yeah.
You hope that it gets better.
No,
maybe when Brandon Sanderson starts writing the book. Maybe when Robert Jordan is.
It's no longer with us. Yeah. So of course, Nynaeve getting angry. The first thing she wants to do is now she can channel. So once she gets angry, she's like the Hulk. She can channel now, and so she decides to go study Logain. Plus, she has nowhere else to really go, and it's a quiet place to go. So go straight into and this scene is one of like I remember when I first read this years and years and years ago. Like I just love the way that Robert Jordan writes these kind of scenes, where he cuts back and forth between thoughts when you're in someone's head and it's just you're thinking about something else and then you're doing something else at the same time because you kind of get in the moment of that. I personally like that kind of writing. I don't know if it's not for everyone, but I just love that aspect where you're thinking about one thing and then like, oh yeah, there's a hole there. Oh yeah, that should fit there. And yeah.
Yeah, that was a perfect interpretation of how my brain functions. We're gonna half form a sentence about this thing, and then and then this thing as well, and how do those have been? Oh, and the other thing that I forgot to do. Yeah.
The only thing it's missing is when you make an ungodly mess while having all of those thoughts, and I'm just behind you picking things up and cleaning them.
Okay. Yeah. So I have extreme ADHD. My wife has extreme OCD. And
a combination made in heaven.
It's that's me and Chanel, actually.
Yeah. So I'm like a tornado, just going through the house, leaving things everywhere, and she's going around trying to put everything neat. I poured out like kids' Legos for the kids to play with. I went out there the other night, and she's literally color coding all the Legos like on the tray and like put them in neat stacks. And I'm like, our kids are 4 and 2.
Does that?
Our kids are 4 and 2. Like, why are you doing this?
It's not for the kids.
I know it's not. I know it's not. But then she's up to like 2 o'clock in the morning. She just complains the next day she's tired. I'm like, well, you should play Legos all night long.
Doghouse, go.
I know.
Alan has a whole other house.
I'll sleep on the couch again. It's all right.
When he's on Discord till 2 a.m., we know why.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I think that so Nynaeve is doing her whole thing, and there is a part of me that wishes. I agree with you, Alan. I like the way that this is written in terms of setting up the chaotic way her brain works out the solution to this problem. I do wish we'd seen her do it before this moment on other healing things. I feel like we never really got to have Nynaeve's point of view of her own healing before this healing, which is arguably the biggest one ever, right? Like this is essentially like someone accidentally performed a heart transplant.
Right.
And it's the first time it would be like that being episode 1 of a character's medical doctorate, right? And so I do wish they had laid, and I say this a lot about this series, is that I enjoy a lot of the magic, but I wish the groundwork for it was a little bit stronger in terms of setting it up in earlier books. But it is such an exciting, like when you get to the moment where Nynaeve realizes what she's done, it's an unbelievably exciting moment for the reader.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I kind of feel the same way. In my mind, I feel like we'll get deeper into the magic system as we go through the books, but here we are all the way in book 6, and we really haven't explored the magic wholeheartedly. I feel like had Sanderson written this series, we would have definitely dove into it much sooner and had a much more thorough understanding of it. But we have Jordan, and Jordan did phenomenal in other places. His character building and his building of the physical locations is phenomenal, but the magic system, I think, was a stretch even for him, maybe.
I think over time it developed more and more. I mean, it definitely is wonky in the first book. You go back and reread. I don't know if you guys have done that yet. It's definitely, you can feel like he hasn't completely hashed it out yet. So it's kind of developing as he wrote. By the end of the second book, that magic system was pretty well established. But yeah, the first, he definitely didn't have a hard magic, like not like Sanderson. Sanderson definitely, when to compare the two.
Yeah, because I definitely, I remember way back in book 1, I remember when Egwene started the fire and she was near water. I was like, maybe water is her element, and she draws on water to do magic. Yeah, maybe it was
Bella.
Yeah, and of course, then we thought maybe it came from the animals. Like maybe I don't know, but we really don't have that.
Well, Bella is the creator. Bella creates everything, so it's
exactly
that was the true source. Yeah.
My one like question about Nynaeve specifically using the one power is we know that she is more comfortable using her like wisdom tactics and herbs and things as while she's healing to help aid her. And it's one of those things where we've kind of been told that the actual herbs themselves may not actually do much, but I wonder if it's the act of having something to distract her slightly, so that while she's weaving, that's more instinctual, and that's just kind of how her brain works, where she divides her attention, and that lets her healing have more of that like intuitiveness, where she can figure that out. And in this moment, it's her thoughts are split between two different things. Because they talk about her using the herbs and stuff a lot, but not that it actually like makes a physical difference in the healing process.
So what you're saying is like most people, she's overthinking it. And when she has a distraction, then she no longer is overthinking it because she's not thinking about it at all. And it's just happening naturally. I like that.
Yeah.
Dana Luhu says Sanderson is all about magic systems, and hard magic was not really a thing in the early 90s. And I agree with that. Up until like... it's not about it being a hard magic system. I don't need Wheel of Time to be hard magic. But like even to bring up the series that shall not be named, but Harry Potter, there are limitations on the magic that they can do. And I feel like because of the school setting that they set Harry Potter in, from book 1, you get an understanding of you need to learn how to do certain spells to do certain things, and you are limited by your knowledge, right? Wheel of Time had this perfect opportunity at the White Tower when you have all of your main characters at the White Tower going to school, and it yada yada yas over 3 months and doesn't like we don't learn anything about their understanding of magic in those 3 months, right?
Yeah, we didn't get to see it, which I think is where some of the setup feels a little bit lacking.
There's an entire setting that is meant to teach you about magic, and all we learn about is how much they hate scrubbing pots, and I feel like that was a missed opportunity early on.
We also learned that Aes Sedai really don't know much either, so it's far as it's surprising like how bad they are. Like it's like...
I think one of the things that bugs me about not knowing though is particularly around the concept of burning out and how it can like kill you. I have no idea idea what the amount of power you have to draw to burn out is. And it feels like throughout the books, the amount of power that every character is able to use keeps growing. Like there's a power creep problem in Wheel of Time where in order to keep because it's 14 books, they have to keep getting stronger, but the danger of burning out has to stay there. And so it's this weird situation where it feels like it's this like sliding scale of burnout. And without any limit on the burnout issue, some of the bigger battles, you get into an issue of like, it feels like they're using a lot of magic here. It feels like someone should be kind of burning out, but especially when they're taking
the Waygates with hundreds of soldiers.
Yeah, like that. That's a great example.
What is it called? Darn it. You know what I mean? Not Waygates, but when he's
gateways.
Thank you.
Oh yes. The portal stones.
Or
when Rand creates Waygate or gateways.
Yeah.
Gateways.
Oh yeah.
When they open up the
Or when he's battling the Forsaken in Tel Riyadh, like there was a lot of power used there, and there wasn't any stress. But we divulge as the Nynaeve, who clearly needed something to distract her from her ability, and then as she's doing this, she has like this feeling that she's always been contemplating there's a hole that she needs to fill, and then she said it's more of a feeling that seemed continuous was not. So rather than it being a hole, maybe the wheel wasn't connected, like maybe the serpent wasn't biting its tail or something. And so she just kind of, all right, well maybe I'll meld these back together and see what happens. And then Glory Day.
And she's like, oh my God, Elaine, go get Sheriam right now.
It is impressive in all that chaotic thinking. She manages to get that shield on him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is this Vikings?
Yeah.
I need to watch that show.
I know. We got to get on that. Yeah.
It was either that or like a promo image for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I still love this scene though, just because it's that oh shit moment, like where
you got like Elaine going, oh my God, how do you do it all at one time? And she's like, what do you mean? She's like, you do it so well, all of it at one time. And I'm like, damn, like she just hits all the right spots, and Elaine just can't even imagine being that good at it. And then he's like, hush, I need all the concentration. Oh, she's like, I didn't expect to learn. She didn't expect to learn anything. Men are different from women in the power as they use in flesh, maybe more so. So she understands, like, even in the flesh, they're different. So she has to make sure she's hitting it right. And she, she's clearly on a roll. Like she might as well be studying a rockfish to find out more about fish. It was very hard to keep her thoughts on what she was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, Logain's a good looking man. So I get it.
Them shoulders.
Also must have been terrifying, like, to realize what you just did. Like, I mean, it's like, I don't know a good analogy for it, but like healing something that you're taught from a early age to be terrified of. Now, I know they've been around Rand, but like that's different. Like Logain, I think to them is definitely more of a threat, just because he's a wild card. And even though they got to know him a little bit, like the fact of just healing him like that, I would imagine it'd be terrifying.
Well, and I think that that's what sells the scene, right? Like I think that the healing moment on its own, it would have been something I would have complained about if it had happened without the reaction, because I would have been like, wow, that's super convenient. And I think that what Robert Jordan continuously does so well is that he takes something that feels like convenient writing, but he grounds it so deeply in characters' reactions to the moment that you feel this sort of you're so drawn into how Nynaeve is feeling about the moment that it doesn't really matter about the storyline that got you to it. And I think that he does a really good job here of her shock and her quick thinking and going on the journey with Nynaeve through these like 3 or 4 beats that feel like they could be 10 minutes, but were probably 2 seconds, right? Allows you as the reader to feel the kind of the wave crashing in and then drawing back out and then crashing back in of the scene. And it's Oh, is that the headphone?
Yeah, it's my headphone.
It's really beautiful stuff, and I think I think that's what makes it so exciting too, is because it's not just like the joy of her healing him, but it is also the immediate fear. She doesn't even get to enjoy her own success because it is immediately replaced by like just this gripping in her chest of this man took over a country, right? Like I just gave a conqueror his power back.
And not only that,
is
like
massive.
She quite literally was like answering the questions and the problems of the world. She's like, Elaine has this problem. If we could get her and do this, we can do that. And Egwene has this problem. If we can get her on our side, then we can get Rand on our side, and we can get Rand straight. And she's literally thinking through all of the things that she was, the wisdom still having to care for her people. And then in the background, the subconscious is like, maybe men are like women. Maybe they're a little bit more like each other. Maybe, I have this feeling of something separated in the women, maybe something separated in him. And, ooh, what if I just, they never say to use fire in healing, but what if I like burn spirit together? Like, it's kind of how I read it. And it's just like, oh, click.
Yeah.
And it, oh, shit. Like he was like, oh yeah, like he had that moment. He was oh, and then from that point forward, it was like, oh, that was a mistake. She's like, oh my god,
yeah.
I can see some euphoria that he felt.
Yeah, someone commented she sees Logain like how everyone else sees Rand, and that's a good point. Like they don't see Rand that way because they grew up with Rand, but everyone else is terrified of Rand. Like, and you get that feel. Especially, in the last chapter where the Tower Aes Sedai met with Rand, and there was that definitely tension in the room because they're terrified of him. It's a man that can channel, and in this world, that is terrifying.
And
as they should be.
Yeah, as they should be. Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, he's terrifying to them.
And he's losing it, right? Like, even though he is, as much as he has kept it together, the moments where he has lost it, even just the moments where it slipped even a little bit in front of people is cause for concern for everyone, right? And just because they haven't seen Logain have those same moments doesn't mean that the ability of him to lose it is not there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how we end this chapter, though. Is healing Logain. Anything from this that we missed? I know Ian's been having a really crappy internet. That's a product of the army. I don't know what's tonight's even worse, but that's why
it's pretty bad. Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm sorry, guys.
You can still talk, Ian. You can still hear.
Well, the trouble is every time one of y'all start talking, like I hear 5 to 10 seconds of it, and then everybody freezes, so I don't hear everybody's statement, and then it comes back in, and everybody's laughing. I'm like, well, fuck me, I just missed a hilarious joke. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this. So really sorry, guys. I'm gonna keep working on it.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
So if you guys, anybody in chat that's listening that is American, write to your senators and congressmen and ask them to fund the military's Wi-Fi better.
I mean, the military
don't need
already
any more
gets so
money.
much money.
They don't need more money. No. And if you give the military more money, they won't use it for Wi-Fi. Believe me, they won't.
Yeah. Please fund nurses in Minnesota
and healthcare and
oh my god,
and schools. Schools need help.
The GoFundMe thing in the States around like teachers being like, hey, my kids need pencils this year, and then Stephen Colbert is like, we spent money funding schools, and I'm like, why is Stephen Colbert paying for pencils? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, and teachers are quitting like crazy.
I would too.
Sorry.
Yeah. as of August 22nd, so a day before school started in Virginia, just our state alone, there were 1,063 unfilled teaching positions in Virginia, where teachers have just left, and there aren't teachers. So
I can't imagine there will be any negative consequences to that for a population in, say, I don't know, 20 years.
Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, you kind of did to yourselves. This is not a political podcast, so we're going to continue moving forward. Anything else from these chapters that we?
I mean, for all that was in these chapters, it was pretty quick. I mean, Sorry, Tom coming back was a big deal, but he really came with nothing. Like that part really discouraged me a little bit. I expected him to have more input, more information. It was just like, oh, you're back. Great. Like, it was not exciting at all, for real.
Yeah.
And
I think that though is that gets back to the change that Rand has created in the land, right? Where I think that pre-Rand's Tavernus and pre-Rand's kind of scourge into Randland, Tom's methods would have worked. And even Tom Maryland is going into a country like Amadicia, and he's seen that everything is so out of whack with what's going on, and it's so different than the world that he knew that he can't find out more information because everything is rumor. Every rumor is a rumor of a rumor, and it's all everything he brings back. And what's funny is what he brings back is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
He brings back the truth, but because of Rand's influence on the world events, everything seems so insane that even he's like, "This is what people are saying, but I don't buy it." Mm-hmm. And you end up in this weird position of there's a lot of rumors that come out as true throughout this book, or that the audience knows are true, that the characters don't know are. And it's just because Rand has made things so chaotic through his actions.
Think it's also our reader perception. Like, we just assumed Tom was that good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because he has always come back with answers. Mm-hmm. But now he's wrong. And it's like we have the expectation that he's kind of all-knowing. I mean, he is like Tom the White. So
he's not wrong, though. He's right. They just don't believe him.
He doesn't believe him. He's lost
sure, yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But his information, but the information he got is true.
Yeah, I like in general though how along the way, I was just talking to Meredith about this. She's still on Eye of the World, and Alan, you brought it up earlier in our podcast. This isn't like unrealistic fantasy.
Cut that off, Ian.
Yeah, where like you can't relate to any of the characters or anything going on in Jordan's world. Like, it's as imperfect as our reality is. So you have these wild character arcs of where you love and hate people, but even in the rumor mill and how information is spread around, like, yeah, we could get a little judgy of, you should rely on this, not rely on that, whatever. But in our reality, there's just so much information out there and so much rumor mill, and sometimes it's impossible to know what's true or not, or who's just feeding you a line of bullshit.
True.
So it's relatable.
True.
Scroll through the interwebs a little bit, and there's a bunch of wild stuff out there. But some of it might be true.
Well, apparently Nerdy Nightly's all over all of it. So
oh yeah.
The entire internet, everywhere, every corner.
Yeah. We cover the internet from stem to stern. From the bowels of 4chan to
except foot fetishes.
No.
That is not in his Google search at all.
I felt so bad. I have a friend who she was on Nickelodeon as a kid, and she didn't know about wikifeet.com. And I was like, that like you're on Wikifeet, right? And it was just a random conversation we were having one day. And she was like, what? She's like, yeah, because she and I did a project together. And so I had like Googled her because I was like trying to like SEO this thing so that people who Googled her would find it. And I found her Wikifeet page, and I was like, that you have a Wikifeet. And it was from most of the photos were from when she was on the Nickelodeon. So she's under 18. And there's like all these collections of any time she was barefoot in anything.
Yeah.
And it's creepy.
Some places
it's very creepy.
Don't go.
But it exists. And I know about it.
Feet is a thing. Time out. What are we talking about here?
Chris is about to have a very different night than the rest of us.
What are we talking about?
So, Chris, what you're going to want to do is go into your incognito browser.
Right. I am right now. Not a thing. You were lying.
Oh, yeah. It's Wikifeet. It's like, if you want to see any celebrity's feet, it's on there. And my only thing is, I don't mind the adults. If fine, whatever. The photos exist. Mm-hmm. It's how much underage content there is on Wikifeet. Thank you so much for that. The podcast listeners are missing out on a horrible use of a terrible GIF.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, the internet is dark and full of terrors. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So we're gonna lose Chris for about 20 minutes here. So if there's any other
as you guys check out feet. Yeah.
My feet should be on here. I have big feet.
Chris is gonna form his own Wikifeet page.
My own Wikifeet page.
You guys have enough of an audience. There would be someone who's into that. Chris, I'm not gonna lie to you. If you're gonna do it, put it on OnlyFans. Make some money off.
Yeah,
It.
charge
exactly.
people for it.
Charge people for
No
your
reason
feet.
to give that shit away for free.
I had 18 feet, and every time I go get a pedicure, they're like, "Oh my gosh, so big but so nice."
There you go.
It sounds like you should be on OnlyFans, Chris.
She didn't mention
I
it to me.
should. I might. What do you have?
Getting pedicures are nice. Yeah, it's
They are very nice.
it's very nice.
I thoroughly.
I did
enjoy
the
my
goldfish
pedicure.
thing one time. Didn't like it.
If you want to
yeah,
have
I've done
me
that
see a
too,
picture of
yeah.
me,
It was really weird.
The
fish thing
It
is
made me
weird.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, one of the things that this is kind of a weird side
had
note, but
fish thing
is
before.
like a guilty pleasure of mine is going to get a pedicure and figuring out what language they're speaking, because not always the stereotypical is Vietnamese, but it can be Korean. There's
Mhm.
lots of different languages they might be speaking, but then get Google Translate out and just turn it on casually as they're speaking and just read whatever they're saying.
I'm gonna be very honest. I don't recommend doing that.
It's
You're
not a
going
good
to read the most biting insult about you that
I know.
will keep you up at night for weeks.
Yeah.
They're going to cut you to your core,
Yeah.
and
It is bad.
They're ruthless.
they're ruthless. Yeah.
It is bad. Yeah.
Oh man.
Anyways,
The Google Translate's dangerous. It is an incredible tool.
it is.
I survived Japan because of it, but it is dangerous.
So, Ian, anything from this chapter? I know your internet issues a little quiet, but anything you want to add? If you even heard this, I guess he's not hearing this. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next chapter. Chapter 30, To Heal Again. And we right where we left off. Nynaeve puts up the shield after healing Logain, and she immediately turns to Elaine like, "Run!"
Something punched against the shield Nynaeve had fastened between Logain and the true source. It really sucks for her because what we have happen almost immediately. Like, she's yelling at Elaine, like, "Go!" Like, this is freaking her the fuck out. Which I gotta say this first and foremost: had Logain really wanted to do some damage, it would have been done. Like, in my mind, he's much stronger in the power than she is, mainly because her power is all rare. Not rare, that's not the word I wanted. Raw. Like, she hasn't really been able to purposely train because she has to have anger to really get it going. So she hasn't really been able to develop it the way he has. So I want to give him the kudos on that part, because if I was in his position and I got my power back and it was full force and I was ready to go, there would have been absolutely no stopping me. I would have been out of there, period.
Well, and he's had experience being shielded before. Like before he was gentled.
Exactly.
He had time to figure out the shield and how it worked, and maybe not have the wherewithal to escape when he's being shielded by 6 of the sisters, right? But definitely has experience at least seeing that kind of weave before. And yeah, it is one of the things that struck me as well, as I think he totally could have just been like, no, and left, right?
I'm right.
I don't know. I don't know that would have served him in any way, though, right? I think there's an element of surprise because, first of all, it's not like he is expecting to be able to channel, right? So he's in this position where he feels this euphoria, and then the shield, I think the shield almost might click in before he even knows it's there, right? Before he's even aware of it, that Sidar's back in him.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, the second part, and he brings this up later in the chapters, he's like, what was I going to do? Attack you and then fight 400 women? Like,
and their warders, yeah.
Like, he doesn't know how to travel, right? He's not.
Yeah,
if he knew how to open the gateway, it would be different. But he's in a position of, like, if he walks outside that door, he maybe takes out 20 people, but he's not getting away. He's not going to win that fight ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of this was self-defense or.
It just seems like one of those things where, like, Logain doesn't seem to be particularly calculating. I think if it was like me in that moment, I definitely would have a more emotional response as opposed to being like, okay, thinking it through logically. I think that it definitely is like a testament to him that he does take a moment to be like, how do I navigate through this? Because there is also the very real threat that they might just gentle him again. And I think that he knows that, and that he chooses to take he chooses to not do anything and to kind of throw in his fate with the Aes Sedai.
That's true. So it was very strategic, and I agree. Let me get up on my mic so people can hear me. I agree. It was very strategic. There's still that part of me that wanted him to just like act out just a little bit, just to fulfill my need for him to be the man.
Yeah.
I also don't know that he would. The thing about Logain is that I don't know that he's mean-spirited in any way yet. Like I've never gotten that from him. And I think that the only person for him to lash out at is the only person who's really shown him any sort of care, or the person who healed him. And I just feel like it would be she is not the right woman for him to lash out at.
Agreed.
No.
Now the other
And he even tries to talk her out of it. Like, what am I supposed to, like, the shield's not necessary. And I love how he goes into the whole thing too about like how he saw someone else. And I don't know if you guys remember all the way back to Eye of the World, that scene where he says when he was in the cage going through Camelin, and he saw someone that was going to be 10 times more powerful than him or whatever, and
More chaotic,
and he threw his head back and just laughed. And if you remember back to Eye of the World, Rand's looking down and he thinks Logain's already gone mad because, as you know, he thinks it's bravado and Logain laughing at like, haha, you think you actually caught me. And that's what, from Rand's point of view, looking at Logain, that's what he was thinking. But now you get Logain's point of view, and it was, no, he was laughing because he saw Rand.
Yeah, he's like,
you guys are screwed.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, his whole thing was, don't be afraid. I won't turn against them now. They've succeeded in what I wanted, whether you know it or not. The Red Aja are finished. In a year, there won't be an Aes Sedai will dare admit she's red.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, the ends to his meaning are met, and he realizes he's not the Dragon Reborn. So the best thing he could do would be to lump himself in with Rand. And he knows that they're friends of Rand. So
Probably go get some revenge on them Reds.
Yep.
This is one of those TV show moments, though, that is now weird for me. When Rand sees Logain in Tarvalon in the show,
right,
they play Logain's laughter as if it might be Rand's madness. And I find that very strange now, having read this moment, because I'm like, no, that's a real moment that is
right.
That is a real, like, important moment for the character of Logain now. Is I think that is the moment Logain realizes he's not the Dragon Reborn.
Yeah,
and we now know that he has that knowledge. If he's like, oh no, I'm not the Dragon Reborn, and so the show playing that as if it might be Rand's madness is like a weird.
Yeah, and I'm not here to nitpick the show, but definitely I agree with you, and because Logain's ability to see Ta'Veren, does that draw from the one power, being that he was already stilled by the time he got to Tarvalon in the show. Him laughing at Rand just doesn't hold the same weight as he wasn't stilled yet, so he still could. Like, I don't know if those are two mutually exclusive things, as far as, talents go, but
I mean, but just like the women who are separated from the source, they can still feel it. So he could still feel Rand's power.
Okay.
So
I think it kind of takes the moment away from Logain a little bit in terms of, I think because they really wanted to focus more on Logain in season 1, I think that would have been a really fun moment to give the actor, who I think is fantastic. I think he's one of my favorite castings in the show. Give him the moment of show him realizing that he's not the Dragon Reborn. And don't say it until this moment, but show it in that scene instead of cutting away and having all the blurry things. Let the actor act that out, because I think it's such a beautiful moment where Logain, even in this moment, I think that he is a calmer human because because he is not under the impression at this time that he's the Dragon Reborn anymore. He's been assuaged of that when he saw Rand, and him admitting that in this moment is so cool. Like, can you imagine thinking you're this man of prophecy, and then one day you're just like, you look across a courtyard and you see a kid and you realize, oh, I'm nothing. That is it. I'm nothing. And it's beautiful and so cool. And Robert Jordan moves on past it so fast. It's like a throwaway thing that Logain just says.
How would they have portrayed that for people like myself who hadn't read this yet? It would be good for those that have read it, but I think the show did what it had to do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because most people that are watching the show aren't going to read the book.
Yeah.
I mean, I did.
Here we are.
But after the fact, I mean, there are a lot of people like you guys are a prime example of people that had never read the book before watching the show. So
we were told not to.
Yeah, which
people,
is good. But,
people in our because we did our trailer reaction, and there were so many comments that were like, "Please don't watch or don't read the books. Watch be our like fresh eyes podcast."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And there were even people who were upset that we started reading the books because they wanted us to be fresh eyes for season 2 as well. And I was like, I'm not waiting. I'm excited.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And and that's one thing I think for creative purposes. I mean, we can go to a show talk for a while about this, but for the first season, they had to definitely Eye of the World's such a tricky book to do anyway. And people get mad at me when I've said this before. Like, it is extremely confusing, the end of Eye of the World, which I know I didn't necessarily appreciate episode 8 of the show because they strayed, I think, too far away. But at the same time, trying to show a lot of elements and trying to show a lot more to people that have not read the books. It's tough. I mean, there are some people out there that say, you should have stuck directly to the books, but doing an entire episode just on Tam walking down the road with Rand would have been kind of boring. Like how much exposition do you want to do to keep it true? It's impossible. Adaptations are possible. Yeah. And yes, they did add a bunch of extra stuff, but I think it's to show key themes that they're going to reintroduce later. Like Eye of the World does not really get into water bonds that much. The show did. And that's definitely more important as the series goes on. I think as far as you guys got, you've noticed that that's more important, especially with Rand getting bonded to Alana. And so
yeah,
to show that early on. And
I wasn't sure if that had happened yet. I was like, is that a spoiler?
No, it's not. But yeah,
no, we're here now.
They're there. So yeah. So, it definitely is more important as the series goes on, but in book 1, it's not important at all. But to show in the TV show, it definitely sets up more themes that are going to be more important later. So it's always tough to adapt TV. And that's the bottom line.
We're pretty open about the fact that like we really like the first 7 episodes. I think the finale has a lot of problems that are mostly production related to COVID, and I get that. So I don't, I don't want to say that like this is like a moment that I think is bad. I don't think it's bad. I just think it is an interesting change that I just don't really know what the purpose of it was in terms of. I don't know that it did enough for Rand that it was worth taking the moment away for Logain for my taste, and that's all I'm saying.
Well, speaking of Logain, I love the statement that is made. He said, Logain's eyes crinkled in amusement, almost as though he knew everything that had passed through her, Nynaeve's head. He sat there with his mouth gaping foolishly, bound and shielded, and he was the one that was at ease. And then we have all this self-doubt from her. How could she have been such a fool? She's not fit to be Aes Sedai. Not if her block crumbled this instance. She was not fit to be out all alone. Like, I said this before and I'll say it again. I need them to get past Nynaeve's block now. I am so tired of her doubting herself. Like I was asked by one of our Discord users and once patrons, he's like, so who's your favorite Edenfielder now? And I'm at a point, like, I'm always gonna love Perrin, but I haven't seen Perrin in like 2 books. Like,
wait, who's Perrin?
Dead to me right now.
Perrin,
who are you talking about?
Exactly. So then I want to be able to give it to somebody like Nynaeve, honestly, because she was a favorite character in the beginning. She was strong-willed. She had all of this confidence. She knew who she was. She knew what she was going to do. Like, she was the wisdom. She had all the power. Like, she left Edmondsfield to track down these young people and bring them back home. And now she's a little, I don't want to say the word, but she's lacking in respect for herself.
Herself and others.
Well, and I think that the problem I have with Nynaeve goes to her lack of respect for others in Fires of Heaven was really tough for us.
Yeah,
like,
we talked about it a lot because it was just very hard to get through. Like, her and Elaine just fighting the entire time and being horrible to one another was
and not in service of anything, right? Like the fires of heaven, and it was a shame because what's for Shadow Rising, we really liked Nynaeve and Elaine in Shadow Rising.
Yeah.
Like their mission in Tenchiko was really like wonderful, and I liked a lot of how that played out. It was crazy and huge, and like it kept me on my toes. But I liked their interactions. And then when we got to Fires of Heaven, the slow trod to Saladar, where it was essentially just chapters and chapters of them spinning their wheels, waiting for Nynaeve to remember a word.
Yeah.
It was tough to get through, and it was paired with the Rand parents or the Rand Matt storyline in that book that I thought was incredible, and it just always dragged compared to that. And so going into this book, I was nervous about how I was going to feel about Nynaeve and Elaine. But this moment for me is really a turning point in like really finding love for Nynaeve again, and finding Nynaeve finding herself again after kind of a book and a bit of me being a little bit like, I don't want to read another chapter about her.
Well, when she gets rid of that block, she's going to be literally unstoppable.
If who knows?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
true.
Like at this point, I half expect Nynaeve to be blocked until like the sequel
it's gonna be like
trilogy.
book like 10. Like you're like, guys, come
Well,
on.
and that's where I'm at. Like, I really do want to like her. I want her to be my favorite character. Like, but in the same vein, I am upset at her for berating herself. She belittles her own achievements, and you know she's meant to be a leader, and she's meant to be the person that kind of ties everyone together. And now she's kind of, I mean, she's even taken a back seat to Gwen. Like that bothers.
Yeah, but so I try to get back on here because we're talking Nynaeve. I'm still convinced, as much as she's the one that tries to hold people together, she has always kept people at a distance, and she's been emotionally distant. And we know that her channeling is tied to emotions. And well, we're like, yay, she's getting angry, she's going to channel. I think it's her defaulting to anger and always keeping an arm's length from everybody is part of her problem. Like the sense I get is to channel in this world, guy or girl, you have to be able to connect, whether it to be being to the physical world around you, but also to people around you. And she doesn't. I mean, she does, but in a very emotionally immature way. Like anger is that default thing. Well, I'm not going to risk connecting this person.
I wonder
I'm
what
just
happened in
gonna
her
stay angry.
childhood to make her like this.
Right.
So maybe that's what we need to figure out and then help her overcome.
We've hinted at that
who
before.
hurt you?
There's
Who hurt you?
there's some trauma that's kind of locked her into this.
Well,
And
I think that a lot of that has to do with her being the wisdom so early, right? She can't afford to be emotional, and she can't afford to show any kind of weakness, because you know that that the Senbui would just like latch on to that right away, and she has to be the stronger one, and she has to be the better one, and she has to take care of others first and foremost. So we don't get to see all the way back into her childhood, at least not yet, but there's definitely aspects of that we can pull from what we do know, which she had to fight tooth and nail to get the respect that she had from the councils.
Her trauma was Moraine calling her a girl. Yeah. I mean, that was a big thing of hers, was she was so young, becoming a wisdom too, and having to overcome that, ageism and whenever you have someone that's young into a role of authority, there's definitely some trauma that comes with that territory. That's just life. It's unfortunate that is, because you can have someone that's a genius and just really is the right person for it, but that you're going to always have people that are older that are going to just diminish your claim to authority.
Well, and when you're young and thrown into it, there's a lack of confidence, and with that there's fear, and fear leads to anger leads to hate leads to suffering.
unless you're 6 foot at 13, then
no, Chris, I see you.
I will say,
unless you show up to grade 9 6 inches taller than everybody else.
I felt that for a little while, and I was like, you know what? I'm in fucking charge here.
Chris never had a Napoleon complex because he is always gigantic.
I think there's also there's an element of there's a real maturity in knowing how to have the power in a situation and still be able to accept advice from other people. And
Oh,
I
tell
think
that to my squad leader. Hold on. I need that line. For court martial. You hit the nail on the head.
But
Just
Nynaeve
because you're in the
is
position doesn't mean you got to be an asshole with it.
Yeah, and Nynaeve doesn't have that. Like Nynaeve really doesn't. Nynaeve is unfortunately stuck in the mentality of I have to be right or else something bad is going to happen.
Holy shit.
And that's just it's not a healthy point of view, and it leads to a lot of our problems with Moiraine come down to the fact that Moiraine is like 60 years older than her, I think, or something like that. Like Moiraine is not a young woman.
Yeah, Moiraine's in her mid 40s, I think. But yeah, still.
She's in her mid 40s.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
I can go check.
I thought she was closer to 60, which I guess wouldn't be 6 years older than, but she's significantly older than Nynaeve. And this idea that Nynaeve has that she can still be right in all of these situations when in conversation with someone who has seen infinitely more of the world than she has, and also 3 times as or twice as much life.
Moiraine is 42. Thank you, Dana. Who?
Moiraine is 42. Okay.
There you go. I pulled the companion and everything for nothing.
So she's almost 2 decades old.
By the
She's
way,
like
I just bought one of those for Chanel.
The companion. Yeah, don't read it until you're done. Because
Not touching it.
Oh, I mean, it's companion is literally an encyclopedia. It's just like people's names and like encyclopedia like type entries. It's
that'll be the last book in our book club.
It's a giant glossary. That's all it is. It's a giant glossary.
She opened up to one character and she like started. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm done with this character." She opens up. She reads the first like 2. It's 3.5 pages. She gets through the first half the page and she's like, closes the book. She goes, "Yeah, I'm not done with that character yet."
I mean, it's like Pater. Who I thought Pater would come back?
He's coming back again, didn't you know?
I was convinced.
He's the dark one.
He is the dark one himself.
I definitely did not remember his name from Eye of the World. And she was like, "Yeah, it's that kid." And I was like, "There's no way it's that kid." No, it's that kid. I was like, "Oh, wow. Okay."
Yeah.
Hey, Alan.
Actually, we introduced him in the first book, like had a broken nose. His nose is crooked.
Send Nerdy a Team Pater beanie on me.
A Team Pater beanie. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys will. We have at our merch store. We have a Team Pater merch because we have a whole thing about.
He was the highlight of Eye of the World for us.
Yeah,
that's funny. We don't sell beanies in our merch store.
Yeah, there are
no beanies.
No beanies at all.
No beanies. I don't know what you guys are laughing about. We don't sell beanies on our merch store.
Absolutely nothing. Nothing to see here.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, Ian, early on in our podcast, Ian did a whole rant about Pater being the worst dark friend ever that just came and showed up for the t-shirt to like the dark friend rally. Yeah, like you know, like not even 8. Like what
didn't think they'd ever call on him.
Like not A team, not even B team, like fucking C team, like
C team, dark friend,
dark friend. Like showed up to the rally and was like, "Oh, I came here for the t-shirt. Like I'm a dark friend now. Like I just wanted the free t-shirt." Like,
yeah.
That's the thing about being a dark friend, though. You got to accept everyone in, right? Because you need numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
So they'll take the worst, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Back to your point, Nerdy. I think that kind of ties into what I was saying with Nynaeve. She needs to do a little self-actualizing and recognize like where she actually fits into the world, but then also be comfortable with what that reality is. And I guess what I was saying is she's so uncomfortable with it that she uses that anger and hostility to keep everybody away from her and not really connect to the world around her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in this second chapter here in 30, when she you know she has this interaction with the Yellows after healing Swan, I think that this is really the beginning of her realizing her place. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I think that we all have a place in our lives and in our relationships with others. I mean that very positively. I want to be clear. I'm not trying to like put a woman in her place. But
yeah, good luck.
She realizes,
mansplain that to us a little more.
Yeah, I want to be careful.
I'm just kidding.
Don't do it.
It's a trap.
So I think that she has this moment with the Yellows where she's like, oh, they've got no clue. And I think that her realizing the comfortability that is possible in being the healer, this thing that she wants to do, that she desperately wants to do, and her seeing her value in that, rather than just her value in passing along Magideon's secrets, she's seen her own value because she's been stealing someone else's value for a while, right? And she's, she's been living with imposter syndrome for a while because she's been basically lying to every single person in her life except Elaine, who she can't stand because she's pretty. And she finally has this moment of like really feeling her own worth. And I think that as much as this chapter for me is all about the Swan Gareth Bryan moment, the Nynaeve moment of her realizing her own worth is the most valuable thing for the story moving forward.
Well, and even
but I mean, we have to get there first.
Yeah.
Yes. She gets to the point where she heals it, and then they all come in right away, and they're like, "Don't be, come on, all right, okay, stop fucking around here." Yeah. And then he's like, "No, wait, you gotta believe me, please."
Don't everybody put a shield. I don't care if you believe me or not. Put a shield on this man. I don't care if you believe me. Shield him.
Yeah. Shield him. Yeah.
This is a bad situation for you all not to believe me.
So someone just commented, we got t-shirts. Yes, we have a whole merch store. I just want to digress real fast because there's a chance to plug our merch. We have an entire merch store. We have t-shirts. We have baby onesies. Like if you have a kid and you want Wheel of Time themed onesies, we even sell those. We have a great one that says just left Tarvalin, which if you get the joke, because the baby just left Tarvalin, if you know the picture. And yeah, it's tons of baby mother's milk in a cup. Yeah, it's great. So baby onesies, t-shirts, beanies, frosted mugs, all that kind of stuff. Shot glasses. Yeah, we have lots of stuff. And so does Nerdy Nightly. So go check out their merch too. Yeah.
You can even we have one shirt and one hat.
Hey, it counts. Count it.
Nard, smart, and oh no, we don't have a hat. What am I saying? There's no beanies.
It comes with breakfast.
Right, there's no beanies. Yeah.
You can be a ciswaya mommy if you go to our merch store.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I mean, so back to the book. So this whole interaction with Nynaeve, I mean, I get where the Aes Sedai are coming from. Like, no one's going to believe her that she healed Stilling and Gentling. Like, it's like a crazy claim. I mean, anyone who
Shiriam's like the least we could do is at least shield him just in case. I mean, we know he's not healed, but we'll do it.
It's funny, like throughout history, how like people will make claims like this, and like it's the same thing happens throughout history. I'm a history major, so when I was in college, you learned a lot of crazy things. Like for example, like Troy, the famous Battle of Troy. Like everyone always thought that was just a myth made by Homer for the Greek Troy. And then there was a guy from Germany that was like, I'm going to go find Troy. And no one believed him. Everybody thought he was just crazy. And he just followed the Iliad and went to the site where the Iliad said it would be and started digging. And sure enough, there was a city there. And it was Troy. Like, and it's the same type of thing. Like no one believes Nynaeve that like, this is even possible. Like, why would we believe you? Like you have so much motivation to make something up right now versus actually doing it. Like, so I get where the Aes Sedai coming from. At the same time, I get where Nynaeve is really frustrated because she's like, shield this motherfucker.
Well, I do though think that Sheriam is doing it to like keep her angry. Definitely a bunch of them do not believe it, but I think that Sheriam is like purposefully trying to keep her mad so that she can do it again, because otherwise she's got to be upset to be able to do it. So
right.
Yeah, he's keeping her aroused for round 2.
Yeah.
Well, and when Chris and I first listened to this, I was more excited about how slick Logain was to even be upset with the Aes Sedai. I mean, I eventually got pissed at him for not believing her, but I was like, this slick mother effer. This is fantastic. He's just sitting there like, what? I don't know. Okay, I just sneezed. I don't even know what she's talking about. What a weird girl. Like I thought like we'd be chapters and chapters before they figured out the truth, and he would just like, casually make his escape.
Yeah. So they immediately hustle Nynaeve out into the little tower to meet with a ton of Yellow Sisters.
Now, to be honest, if you did not get to listen to our live reaction, I swore up and down, oh my God, these are dark friends. Like these are horrible people. They're going to do something horrible. Like they're going to destroy Nynaeve for figuring this out. Like, I mean, it would have made sense. Mogadine clearly knows something about, or Mogadine, how you pronounce it, about healing people and recovering the power in her mind. So I'm like, maybe like they've been on the lookout trying to figure out she would figure it out, and they would kill her so nobody else could figure it out. Like, yeah, all the thoughts went through my head. I was completely wrong, and that rarely happens. So
You give the Aes Sedai too much credit. They're not that smart.
No,
No.
they're not.
So yeah, they lead her into the little tower to and they push Swan and Leanne in, and not even clicks why they're being so mean to her because they're trying to keep her angry. Yeah, like Nardi and Khaleesi said, they're keeping her angry. So do it again. Show us.
Yeah, I thought Nynaeve was hosed here. I was like, we were even screaming it ahead. Like, there's no way the same thing, like you were saying earlier, Nerdy, the same thing you do on a male channeler is work on a female channeler.
Yeah.
So I thought she was just being set up again for them to not believe her.
Well, and I was worried that she was going to be so distracted. Like the first time she was so distracted because she was thinking about so many things that they'd be like, do it again. And she'd be like,
I can't.
What did I just
That's
do?
exactly what I was about to say. Like, she was not paying attention to what she did. She just kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of thought about it, like nonchalantly. Thank you. Just
we'll stream like video games, and people in chat will bring up something that we just talked about, and I'm like, "What are you guys talking about?" And they're like, "You started this conversation," and I'm like,
"Yeah." That was a background process. That was an app running in the background. I have no idea what was happening.
I don't remember saying anything about that, but I guess sure. If you guys say so, we just talked about that.
Yeah.
My chat could convince me I said all sorts of awful shit that I never said because I'd be like, I guess I did. Like, I'll have to watch the VOD. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, and if you watch the live reaction, like I said, if you're a Patreon, they were both Ian and Chris were shocked at this point because it worked. And
ish.
It worked ish. No, she could channel again. I mean, it worked. It worked ish. She got the power.
Now the question is does it not work because of her or because of it not being done right? Nerdy, what do you think?
No, he's read further. Don't spoil.
Alan, hush.
Alan, be quiet.
I can't answer that without spoiling. It's easy. I think that understanding the difference between Saidin and Saidar is beyond the characters in the scene. And so I think that they are unfortunately there is something I think that Robert Jordan came up with a way for this to be relevant to the story. And that is why it is the way that it is.
We also know that there are things, for example, like Terangrial or like that have to be like that interact with Saidin and Saidar differently, or have to be interacted with at the same time, or that kind of thing. And so, I wonder if it's the actual one power itself interacting with that connection as opposed to the actual process of healing. That it is stronger. We know for a fact that they're the strongest when they're together. When Saidin and Saidar work together, they're at their strongest. And so using so you're
saying maybe a male should have healed.
Maybe if a male had healed the stilling.
I like that thought. I actually had the exact same thought. You need the yin and the yang to make the circle whole.
Exactly.
And so maybe you need Saidin to heal Saidar and vice versa. And I did have that thought moments after we kind of shut down last time. It's like, what was the one difference that we know for certain?
Yeah.
We had a male and a female. Like, he couldn't feel his power and use his power, but it was still there. And so she used hers to bridge his. And now she used hers to bridge another hers. And it's like, that's yin and yang or yang and yang, whichever one you want to say. And it doesn't quite work that way.
I also think there's an element of Saidin and Saidar where Saidin is male channelers are more powerful but less finesse, and female channelers are more finesse and less power, right? And that seems to be this underlying theme between the two powers. And obviously there are individuals who are exceptions to that rule, but I think there might be an element of when you heal Logain, the thing that comes back strongest in him is his strength, because that is the power of the male channeling side. And when you heal Swan and Leanne, the power isn't as strong, but like they get that like tactile ability to really use all of their weaves back. And so there might just be an element of, in healing, the thing that is already the more abundant technique on either side is the thing that comes back either first, if they are to like grow back to full power, or maybe they only get back that thing that they were already good at.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And you know, during this whole scene, also you had the whole Aes Sedai commenting on Nynaeve's use of all the different strands of the power, like how fires have never been used before for healing, and they even give a little caveat on why. Like healing is one of the most dangerous arts there is because it's really close to killing someone. Like you try to. I mean, obviously, you go back to like a surgeon or a doctor. Like the difference between healing someone and killing someone is a fine line, especially
Millimeters,
yeah, millimeters difference when it comes to like surgery and things like that. So it makes sense that like the yellows are trained to do it exactly this way and do not deviate from this path, because if you do, don't experiment, because we don't, you know, we're not into just killing people for experimentation purposes.
It's just interesting because of how important fire and like heat are in healing in real life. Like
right.
it seems like those two things are so inherently tied together in my brain. Like if
Right.
someone gets gashed open, the first thing you do is cauterize the wound.
Right.
And so
Well, no, I think the first thing you do is disinfect and wash it out.
No, if your option is cauterizing it, then disinfecting it isn't going to do very much.
Okay, fair enough. I guess if
you're burning the skin closed, there's not a lot of reason to
all right, that's
sterilize it.
The burning will sterilize it in the process of fire. Fire will
not a
kill
lot of
bacteria.
microbes that are going to survive that. But yeah, no, if you have a first aid kit handy, do that. But if you don't have a first aid kit handy, like fire is just
it's an effective tool.
Well, and even like in modern surgery, they cauterize the inside of your body because it's just what we do. And so it is so funny to me reading this. The first time through, I was like, why wouldn't you use fire?
I mean,
like that seems strange
to
me.
Someone brought up a vasectomy earlier, and I've had one. So, because I have enough kids and I don't want more, and and I didn't even know going into this, that they actually not only do they cut, not only do they twist them back and tie it off, they burn it shut. Like there's fire involved in that surgery. Like it's actually cut, twist, tie, burn. So fire is definitely part of that surgery. And it's
thank you so much. This is we're going to be logging off now. That is all I needed to know about your scrotum. On that note, follow at Nerdy Nightly across the internet and do something nerdy tonight, friends.
A little twist, a little burn.
Twist, burn.
We got to cut.
So, but I won't be having more kids. Okay,
so I mean,
moving on.
You know, I love the conversation that the yellows are having. We have her healing Swan, and then Leanne, and in the background they're like, she uses fire and earth, like she's trying to bore a hole through stone. Like it's just all this snarky background murmuring and just the criticism, and here's her like moment, like she's doing something that only she at the moment can uniquely do, and all you hear in the background is just noise. I swear to you, I think I would have flipped out in that moment and really let loose on a few people, like magically remove some tongues and, you know, sticky briars on bottoms. And I would have just, at that point, she had the power fully embraced. I'd have used it. I'm like, you know what? Fuck y'all. I'm done with this. It just,
well, and I think that reminds me so much of, I've been really like thinking about Serena Williams a lot this week, obviously with her retirement and her final US Open. And
Transition.
What?
She's not retiring. She's transitioning.
To not playing tennis anymore? Sure.
That's what she said in an interview. She's like, I'm not retiring. I'm transitioning.
Yeah. But I think like Serena Williams entered the women's tennis scene with such a splash. Her and Venus both, right? And the reaction to what they brought to the sport was was a lot of derision, right? Like her grunts, the noises that she made were said to be disrespectful of the sport. Meanwhile, she's winning every single, like no one could compete with her for years. She won 2 matches at 40, whatever she is now, right? Like she's clearly the most dominant athlete in that sport. Most dominant athlete in almost any sport, right? People are talking about how, Tom Brady was in high school the first time she competed at the professional level. And so I think that there's this weird element of like these, especially women, when they are at the height of something, especially if they're bringing something new to it, the response is always this negativity and this attempt to like drag this person down. And I definitely think that because they cast Nynaeve as a woman of color in the show, that stands out a little bit more in the way that I read it, right? But there's that element of like Nynaeve really is showing them something amazing. And because of their preconceived notions about her as a Wilder and their preconceived notions about her as not yet being lifted to Aes Sedai, they miss out on a miracle.
Yeah, the Aes Sedai are so far up their own asses, and you don't really notice it in book 1, but God, you notice it more and more through each book and each time you meet them. And it's not just like the Aleida side; it is all of them, and they are going to be their own downfall.
Well, and they already are, right? The tower split.
They are, yes, but I just mean like
maybe Dark Friends, but it's also them.
The Aes Sedai are kind of the worst.
Well, and it goes to they have to pay so much attention when she heals Leanne because they were so up their own asses that they missed the miracle of her healing Swan, right? And so they have to snap to attention for the second one because they're like, oh shit, we missed it. And they missed a miracle, right?
Yeah, I could definitely do that better. Just give me a second.
And it's sad. It's our preconceived notions cause us to miss some of the most beautiful parts of life. And if you're just open to the miracles that other people perform, you get to witness so much more as you live.
Well said. Yeah. So anything from all this before we, I guess.
I'm so sad. I just started looking up her transition and she wants to get away from having a big backside. I'm like, no, you can't do that. She literally said that. She's like, some people, butts are a thing now. I'm trying to make mine smaller while others are trying to get what I have. No,
I'll
ma'am.
take some.
Hey, you can keep playing tennis.
Marisu in the chat says somehow Nynaeve being cast as the person of color makes the story of her hair being a symbol of her heritage resonate more. I love that. That's
very
deep
true.
Right there.
Very true.
Just don't touch it. Don't ask to touch it and don't touch it.
Only Nynaeve touches her hair.
Speaking of that, when you were at D23, did you see the Little Mermaid trailer? And have you seen the trailer reactions? Because they make me cry.
We weren't at D23. We were at Disney World. That was over. That was in Anaheim.
Yeah.
Okay.
But all my friends have been sharing these just like touching videos of these like these little girls who look at Ariel and are like, she looks like me, and it just makes me want to cry. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I feel bad because I was snarky about the trailer at first, and now I feel kind of like a dick.
No, we were like, are the fish gonna be real fish? We weren't snarky, but we were like, okay, it's fine. Yeah. But like, it's the reactions and what the trailer like means.
I think Halle Bailey is gonna crush it. I think she sounds amazing. The leaked footage from D23, don't go looking for it because that's not good. But like, it's amazing. So go look for it. My snark was that she like swims up towards the light, and then Flounder is just like a regular ass fish that's gonna be voiced by Jacob Tremblay, which makes me think that like Sebastian's gonna just be a crab. And I don't.
You know what? I felt the same way about Lion King. So continue.
But and that was my tweet, right? As I was like, did we learn nothing from how emotionless the Lion King is? And I just can't imagine Sha-la-la-la-la, like Kiss the Girl, performed by a crab with no emotions. It's gonna be bizarre. And I wish they'd gone for like, I wish they'd gone for a little bit more magical realism in it, because I don't know. I feel
as long as that seagull hits that note right, wah wah wah, it's gonna be perfect.
But it's just gonna
they can put googly eyes on the crab
gonna be
and
a seagull.
Googly eye, perfect. Yeah, I'll take it.
And so I was a little snarky about the trailer only because I feel like I wish they'd lit her more. I get that they're going so much for realism,
Yeah.
and I wish that they went for magical realism a little bit
Yeah.
harder on it. But I'm going to see the movie opening night. I think she sounds great.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
No, she does.
Yeah.
I just love all those trailer reactions, and I
That's
showed it
great.
I showed it to my kids and my daughter. So my wife's black, and so my kids are mixed. And my daughter was super into it. My son was like, "Oh, it looks like a chick movie. I don't want to see it. It's a girl movie. It's that's a 4-year-old boy. That's kind of how he is. But anyway, so back to Wheel of Time. So after all this, Ice Knight being snarky, Nynaeve, goes back to Elaine. Elaine's kind of like with her head down, like, sorry. And she's like, you can't leave now. And she's like, what do you mean we can't leave now? It's like, yeah, after that, you ain't going anywhere. And sure enough, like, the sisters all come in, swarm her, like, you're going to teach me this, you're going to teach me that. Like, you're not going anywhere because you're going to be under watch 24/7 now.
Well, and part of the reason why Elaine is saying sorry is because Nynaeve said to only bring back Shiriam.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but Elaine was right. Logain, like, you need more shields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so Elaine still feels
Nynaeve
bad.
didn't really seem upset, just tired.
No, she was like, no, that was the right call.
Yeah.
She's exhausted though. Yeah. And she is, as we move forward as well. But we switch to Swan's point of view here.
What a woman.
So, yeah, good old Swan. So, she gets done with the whole welcoming stuff, and she goes and sees her man Gareth Bryn and goes to try to corner him.
She's like, I'm healed. I can channel again. He's like, okay. She's like,
He's like, oh, so you're gonna
Oh,
channel
yeah, I heard
my
something
laundry
about
so
that.
it's actually clean this time.
Yeah.
then.
And she's like, I'm an
So
Aes
maybe-
Sedai now. I don't need to clean your laundry.
Maybe
Marty's
they
like,
actually will be clean. I've regretted letting men go so easily. So he
Yeah.
knows Men's been doing all the work.
Yeah.
yeah,
She's been done none of it.
yeah,
So
Our girl
Again.
Min, we are hardcore Min stands in this house.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and she
We love
tries to
Min
channel,
too.
tries to lift Gareth, and realizes at this point that she can't.
he's
Mhm.
like, was that supposed to tickle?
Am I
Um,
supposed to be scared?
And I can just picture this as this is happening. She's going through all this emotion with Gareth and figuring out whether or not she actually has feelings for him and all this stuff. And then the crashing guilt, or not guilt, but the weight of her warder's death comes like a wave, just like a tsunami of emotion.
If that would return, because the one thing that I also wonder is whether or not her oaths would return. I think we determined really early on that they did not.
It says they don't.
It says in this
So-
chapter
Because
that
they lie.
Yeah.
she's like, oh, I can still lie
Yeah.
because Gareth says I didn't mean to frighten you, and she says I'm not frightened, and then she's like, oh, good, I can still lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so that's where I was a little confused. Like, why did this link return? Is it the link between the bonding that happened?
Bondage is for life, bro.
I
What?
guess. So,
Once you do it, you can't forget it.
I guess that means like the Angreal or Tangreal or whatever aren't lasting. Like they can be broken that easily.
I
Like
think it's
the
a mix
rod?
of that. I also think it might not even have it might not be fully the power, right? I think it might be that she has ever since she was stilled, she has had to put herself in a point of view that allows her to keep going, right? I told this story when we talked through this on our podcast, but when I was in my senior year of college, I was in rehearsals for like the final show I was doing with my school before I graduated, and I got a call that my grandfather had passed away. And it was mid-rehearsal, and I was like, it was my song that was being performed, and like I was like, okay, I have to go. I'm so sorry. Like that sucks, but like I'm gonna move on from it, right? And then with graduation and like life, I just never stopped to really like process that. And then a few months later, I was seeing The Big Fish on Broadway, the like musical version of the Tim Burton movie. And at the end of the musical, it's this story about this like larger than life man who tells these fantastical stories that you're not sure that you believe, and he dies, and you find out that they're kind of true, and the profound like effect that he had on his son. And I sat there and I cried for like 45 minutes outside the theater after that show. And it was because for the first moment in the 6 months since my grandfather had died, I sat down and thought about him really. And all of the busyness of graduation and all of that was no longer weighing on me as much, and it wasn't distracting me, and I was able to really process grief for the first time. And so this moment hit me so hard, and just because I was able to relate so hard to what Swan's going through in this, actually allowing this wave to crash over her, and whether or not it's only because of the power or whatever, I think this is one of the most beautiful moments in this whole book. And I love it so much, and part of that is because, you know, my personal moment, but also just like what it means for this character who we've seen be so steadfast and like hard-assed, really have this emotional vulnerability in front of this man she does not want to be vulnerable in front of.
Yeah, she like runs off so she can cry about it.
But it is the moment where Swan really becomes a fully like formed human being to me as a written character.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that sentimentality. I mean, she has always been in charge and control and kind of stoic. And then here we really see her need her friend.
Yeah.
Like she kind of reaches for Leanna, like, how did you deal with it when yours? And she's like, you know, you just move forward, but this is why I've never taken another.
Yeah. She said it's been 15 years for Leanne, which, you know, and she describes the process of trying to grieve through it. And I think that part of the moment of Swan realizing is they talk about the power being this like internal connection. And when it's gone, it feels like a loss of person in a way.
Yeah.
And so I do think that getting that back, while it doesn't renew the oaths, which are a thing that you take and that you say and that you're bound by, the emotional connection through the one power directly to another person, right? When you're connected to power, you know where your warder is. You can feel their feelings and their hurts and their wants and their desires. And so I think getting part of that back with the initial, like, I can channel again and I can access the one power, and then feeling the loss and the emptiness where that like bond would be. I think that has more to do with it than it being like, that's why I feel like it's different than the oaths, because it's like a thing that you say and that you take that kind of like lords over your actions, as opposed to being an internal connection.
There's no emotional contact or connection to the oaths. I mean, it's more of a symbolic, you know, I don't know the word I'm trying to think of, but it's a contractual thing. And when contracts are broken, it's not that big of a deal. But when relationships are broken, it is a big deal. And I think that's the difference here. It is, yeah, you break a contract, it doesn't come back, it doesn't hurt you. You can keep it going on. And I don't think, you know, if her warder was still alive, it'd be interesting to see whether or not that bond comes back as well. But I think that severance from that emotional connection might still happen even with the warder, but that same emotion will still exist because it's a contract versus a
like when Moraine returns.
Yeah, if Moraine ever does return, Moraine's dead.
She's dead.
She will. No.
She's
coming back.
I want to know.
Dead.
Moraine is dead.
I want to know.
No,
if
she just transitioned. She's gonna come.
she's gonna come back as Moraine the White. We know this.
I kind of look. I think it's probable that Moraine returns. I would actually prefer her not to, and it's not because I dislike the character. I really do love Moraine, but I think that the way that I don't know that if she comes back, she has to survive, because she's not going to have a more meaningful death the second time than what she did the first time. Right?
Yeah, she would have to make it all the way.
She would have to survive, because otherwise it's
realize
like you gotta take that first step.
Rowling
First step's
must
pretty
have
good.
read this book.
What?
J.K. Rowling must have read this book.
Oh my god!
Like,
Moraine will always live in our hearts.
It just dawned on me though. Severus went the same way.
Yeah.
I want to know if
Like-
male channelers can take warders.
I don't know.
That's what I'm excited to find out.
I
mean,
feel like they can, but they
bonding,
don't, because they're
yeah.
like, I don't need it. I'm a big strong boy.
It's just
Probably.
bonding. I mean, they bond with them. So yeah, sure.
They're like, my dick is large. I want to spend more time with the Aelfin people. That's the thing that I'm like. I keep
Snakes and foxes.
expecting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know what the hell's going on there, Because the weird thing about this series is that it is a high fantasy series with magical shit going on, and
Correct.
yet the magical shit almost seems like it is just out of arm's reach almost all the time.
Secondary all the time. Yep.
It's our main characters interact with so little magic compared to what they talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Like after they have the sex in the igloo, right? They go outside and they see a dragon.
The sex.
And like Rand at the beginning of the series is like, I don't even know if like Nargs or Trollocs are real. And I'm like, there are so many magical creatures in this world, and these characters like never interact with them. And I'm like, I would have a pet unicorn. Like, why?
Hey, Tom has a
Aes Sedai-
unicorn.
Tom has a unicorn.
He
The Aes
flies
Sedai
the
should have a
unicorn.
menagerie of cool animals,
I want to see a phoenix, please. Thank you.
right?
There you go.
Swan should have some like magic fish that like floats around her.
Coy. Too coy.
Too coy. A black and a white one in a pond.
Like, coy, yes.
It's just straight up Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny.
So after this emotional scene with Sawad and Leanne, they do talk about becoming. Are they still Armelin? Are they still a keeper? Like that's the question that they go to try to find out. You find out in this chapter that they're not, but that's literally what they.
You don't even have like you're not even in the tower. Y'all don't have a structure of government. Y'all ain't shit.
Well, and they're in a community of Aes Sedai that they get in the conversation later about like the gradations, the levels of power and everything. And they all constantly strive for power and to one up one another. So once somebody else is higher than you, they're not going to go like, oh, you're back. Well, yeah, you can have your spot back. That's not the vibe I get from these ladies. If anything, even if they do deserve something or some kind of place of honor or whatever, everybody's going to fight that. No one's going to willingly step aside and be like, yeah, you're back here. You can like lord over me.
I can't wait for Range to put them on.
To make them Armelin seat Emeritus, like some kind of like just figurehead type. Like, yeah, you can.
Stanzo.
It's a constitutional monarchy.
Yeah, there you go. It's just a figurehead. Sure. So
make them the like mascot.
Yeah.
I do find it interesting though. There seems to be something. I don't know what it is, but there seems to be something about the modern Aes Sedai, because we spent enough time with the Forsaken at this point where they don't have the ageless face thing. And it's only like our Aes Sedai in the show or our Aes Sedai in the books that have the ageless face syndrome. And it seems like it's almost something tied to them being Aes Sedai. And we don't see it in Wilders, like, because, they talk about how...
Or Wise Ones.
Or Wise Ones, right? And so it seems like it's almost like tied to the 3 oaths or something. Like I'm wondering if it is the oath rod that makes them ageless, because they don't get that back. The 3 oaths don't come back, and they don't get that back when they get their power back, even though they're still the same age. And so it's not like being a certain age and having the power that causes that. And I have no idea what it is, but like there's something weird going on with the ageless face thing, and the fact that the Wilders, the Wise Ones, and the Forsaken don't have it. That I want to know what's going on there, because there's something.
It's their vanity.
Weird.
It's their vanity. Even if it's subconsciously, there's too much of a focus on themselves and trying to appear better than they are. And it probably prevents them from being as strong as they could be.
Well, there's the like weird like trick of not sweating. That they like the Aes Sedai are just like, we don't sweat, and
they glisten.
Yeah, and Nynaeve's over here like mopping her face, and so I always thought
that makes them vampires.
I'm not saying no,
but the Forsaken don't sweat, and they don't have that, and they can do the no sweat thing, and they don't have the ageless face thing.
But the Forsaken are all young and beautiful looking, even though they're thousands of years old.
Right. No, but that's my point, right? Is that they're not thousands of years old. They were like in like a box. They were in like stasis.
Yeah, they're stasis.
Right?
Yeah.
So like
sure.
There is something about this ageless face thing, and I want to know what it is, because I feel like there's some like dark shit going on with the Aes Sedai, even darker than we know so far. And I think it's the oath rod thing.
Don't speculate too much, because our mod Sex Monkey in chat is gonna have she's gonna lose her shit.
All right, I will stop speculating.
Not here.
But I don't know. It was just I expected her ageless face to come back in this moment, and it didn't. And that threw me off. I was like, why is her face? Why is she still young and like?
Maybe it will change because her face didn't immediately change when she got stilled, right? Didn't it?
Right. It was over time. Yeah.
Yeah, it transitioned. So
That's
maybe that will change.
I don't know.
Well,
It was
we've
just
thrown
weird.
out there. We've been pretty sus of the Oath Rod, and I threw out there that the Oath Rod is probably the worst thing that ever happened to the Aes Sedai in this world. And like the more I think about it, that might be something that a Black Aja or a Forsaken or some Dark Friend or whatever instituted to limit them and cause them problems. Because I can't think of any like the BS excuse they give us, like, you know, so the rest of the world trusts you a little bit more. Like, that's stupid.
We
That
learned
is not
a little
good
bit
argument. Like it
at
holds you
this-
back.
At this point, you learned about the history of the Oath Rod that was created during Arthur Hawkwing's time as a way of limiting. Before that, I didn't have that. And then it was as an agreement with Arthur Hawkwing to limit the Aes Sedai to try to form an alliance, even though Arthur Hawkwing didn't trust them, things like that.
I got that. It just, that's
Yeah.
lame.
I wonder
I
how
forgot
They
that.
have good face creams.
I wonder how many Emerald seats have been Black Aja.
That's a great question.
All of them.
Or how many Black Aja are there currently in the tower?
Oh, I'm
All
sure
of
there's
them.
like 100.
Half of them.
What if it's all of them, but they keep it so secret? Like everybody's pretending to not be Black Aja.
Yeah.
One
I
day
think
there's like
all
a
of the
coming out
Aes
party
Sedai.
and they're
Ian's
like,
right. I think all of the Aes Sedai are Black Aja, and they just won't tell each other.
Nobody
100%.
communicated.
The only thing I remember about the Oath Rod is that it's hard to hold it and not make it look like a cock.
Yeah.
According to...
Rosamund Pike's exact
have
words.
That's the
Yeah.
Black Rod that shoots balefire. That they use.
Yeah.
Oh my
Only
God.
for special occasions.
They use it in it was it Shadow Rising, yeah.
Yes,
They
do.
like burn down half the palace with the Black Rod.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
so
It's
you
hard
hold the
not to
rod
make
with
that look like a
tweezers?
cock either.
Yeah,
Because that's how I
it's a Black Rod that shoots balefire. Come on.
just me. Oh wait, mine's not black, so I can't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mine
I don't have
neither.
personal experience.
No. No. Chris, can you help us out?
Please do not describe the process to me. I don't even want to know.
No, I was in a 10-year relationship prior to the one I'm currently in. It was going south for about 5.5 years, but she still kept me around.
Okay.
And
Enough said.
Enough said. All right.
Because
all right.
he shoots balefire, and
Yeah.
she would forget about their encounters every time.
Wow.
Correct.
That's our finger blasting. We call balefire finger blasting on our
Oh my God.
Oh, incredible.
Sorry, just killed nerdy.
Oh man.
It's fine.
I know. You know what? It wasn't that joke. It was thinking about finger blasting and SpongeBob SquarePants in the same spot made me uncomfortable.
Fair.
Fair enough. Yeah,
It's only a child show.
it's the perfect gift.
You know SpongeBob is a good lover though. Like he goes
Oh
down.
yeah,
on
look at
women.
his tongue and his finger. Look at that.
Oh, he
Right?
practices.
Like
Mhm.
Patrick does not. Patrick is a boring lay, but SpongeBob is great.
Yeah.
Squidward, you would think he'd be good because he has all those he has so many ways to pleasure a woman, but he's too anxious to use any of them.
Oh, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
just lazy.
And he plays
Yeah.
the clarinet, so I mean.
But he gets women into bed, but because he plays that clarinet,
Yeah.
you know he's
Oh,
out there being like.
Kenny G.
But
But then he just
What
lays
were we
back and waits
reading?
for them to do all the
We're
work.
switched to Elaine's point of view.
It was a
So yeah, Elaine's in a room and Nynaeve burst in, complaining about the Yelsis. She's exhausted because the Yelsis just pretty much just till way past sundown, like just been asking her a million questions, having her try to get her angry, and they keep on trying to like basically abuse the crap out of Nynaeve to get her to show her more weaves and things like that, and to the point where she couldn't even, no matter how mad she was, do it anymore because
And
she's
now they're at the
exhausted.
point where they're all ready to break her.
Yeah, and they're all trying to
Or
break her.
block,
Yeah.
I should say.
And this is also the scene where Leanne and Swan come in and say, "Hey, we're best friends now." So, you know, that's,
Besties.
You know what?
yeah.
Swan
mean-
is about the only one. It was Swan and Nynaeve messed that up, but this would be
Yeah.
the perfect friendship.
I mean, it's pretty much like, you know, comes to the door and says,
You're a chick who's the one guy you would sleep with.
John Stamos.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
That is Elaine and Leanne, actually, in that moment.
The problem
Alex
is
has been
with those
waiting
Aes
to
Sedai
do that.
bedrooms, there's no room for activities. Like Elaine and I need to build bunk beds, or else they're not going to have any room for activities.
Exactly.
Yeah. I will say, I love Swan and Leanne being like, fuck, we're not powerful enough. We need to team up with these girls. Like, I think it's so. I hate the Aes Sedai power structure. I think I hate it. But I love that. I love that it leads to this moment where they come in and they're being all nice, and then Nynaeve and Elaine are like, "You fucks, we see what you're doing. Like, we're not dumb."
And then Nynaeve is like, "All right, who gets to steer the boat?" And Swan is like,
Yeah.
"Me."
Of course. Duh.
I'm the captain now.
It's a shared crew.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh my god, y'all cannot like calm down for like 5 seconds, and then it doesn't.
But the best part about that, before I move on from it, is that Nynaeve throws a water. Like, Nynaeve is not comfortable on boats, but she takes a water pun and she bats it at Swan, and she's like, "I'm gonna throw your arena right in your face, girl, because I've heard you talk about too many goddamn fish."
Yeah. Objectively, though, from the outside looking in, it's a great pairing because the two most powerful channelers there have absolutely no standing and authority, and then like at least one of the most influential people there, she might not have like authority of Amerlin anymore, but like she still has her relationships and skills, but she has no power. So all of them kind of combining forces. It's a Captain Planet type moment. They just don't realize it.
With your powers combined.
Yeah.
Wait, but who's the fifth? They need one more to become Captain Planet.
Yeah.
Rand.
Mogadine.
Mogadine.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh my god.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Or it's Brigitte. Brigitte is the.
Now, there's the real thought. You know, we have Swan and Leanne always around these two. How long before they figure it out?
Figure what out?
That they had the bracelet.
Oh,
They have
but-
Mogadine.
What I thought they do know. Didn't they put the bracelet on Swan?
yeah.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
they let her play
You're
with
right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're
What
the
happens
only ones
now?
who
Mm.
like they know more about Teleranriod
Yeah.
than anyone else.
And they know about Megiddian as well. Like they're the only ones.
That's right. So
Yeah.
that what comes next?
I
Now
want
they
to
have
see
their
Swan
power
with the
back.
bracelet on now.
Oh,
Yeah.
What comes next is the second half of the book.
Oh yes.
Because this really is
Yeah.
that, like, there's
It's a-
56 chapters in this book, right?
Right. It's the
Um,
turning point of this book. Yeah.
This is really the middle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is crazy. Not to spoil anything.
Hey, here's the question. Wait, let's finish. Then I'll ask the question.
Okay.
I don't think that it's a spoiler to say this, but like the second half of this book is so crazy and huge.
Oh yeah,
And
it just keeps going.
This is the moment where it begins. Like
Right.
this is the beginning of, and it's not my favorite book. I still think Shadow Rising is my favorite book of the six that we've read. But this is definitely number 2. And this point to the end of this book is so fantastic, and a lot of why the rest of this book is great starts in these 2 chapters, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, this
it's
is the
Robert Jordan telling epic fantasy with really, really, really strong, well-written, deep character motivation for all of the beats that happen. And he keeps that consistently from here on out. But it starts here with Nynaeve and Logain. And it was actually really fun coming back to this for this, right?
Mhm.
Because we usually
Yes.
don't go back on the books very much because we have to keep plowing forward for
Yeah.
reading a quarter
for
of
your
the
own
book each week.
content.
Yeah. And so coming back to this moment and like realizing like we went on this journey for 4 weeks after this on our show, and this is really where it starts in a way that is so noticeable and so wonderful.
I believe you because you seem like an honest fellow, but every single guest we've had on during this book is like, oh, it gets really good after this. Oh, it gets really good after this. Oh, it gets... and not that it hasn't been good. The buildup has been great, but it's been
Everyone just talks about the last chapter of this book, and they already know something big is going to happen with Dumai's Wells, and they've heard that word, but
yeah.
that's all they know is something big's happening. They know nothing else.
That was
But it's taken
that
us
was the
forever
only
to get there.
that was the only like thing I knew going into Wheel of Time. Like even before we had read the trailer reaction, like the Battle of Dumai's Wells was this like concept that just existed at con. You know what I mean? It was one of those things that like was like, you know, the trench run on the Death Star, right? And so when we were coming into this book, people were like, "This is the book," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And so for the first time in all of our podcasting, we did like an audiobook reaction just to the chapter because it was so demanded and requested by our audience, and like it was a party. Like that audiobook reaction, we're like, I'm screaming, like it's really fun.
We're gonna do a live one for that too.
That's awesome.
We've been requested by everyone.
It's exciting, man. This book is great.
Yeah.
You're being warned to watch your spoilers. So.
No, he's good. He's good. Yeah,
I think that's the line, right? I think that's the line. I wouldn't say any more than that.
Here's the real question, though. Do I get my parent chapter?
You'll get parent chapters.
Everybody
You'll get
keeps
parent
saying he's
chapters. I told him he'll get parent chapters. Yeah, because remember in Fires of Heaven there is no parents, so Chris is missing parents so badly right now.
I'm loyal. At this point, I'm just loyal.
Chris, you already got you already got the you don't get parent, but Fael in the prologue.
Yeah, you got Fael in the prologue.
You got Fael talking about what Perrin's up to in the prologue.
Yeah.
Chris, look, you got to know that Perrin is he's in the honeymoon phase, and that man has not put pants on in like 6 months.
You know what? That's fair. If they're making puppies, I'm cool with that.
I hope they're not literally puppies, though. That would be weird.
Everyone in chat saying who's parent.
Bird dogs.
Yeah, that was a thing. That was a thing because I love Perrin. Lan is my favorite show character, but Perrin is my favorite book character.
I agree with you there.
And so through all of book 4, I was like, guys, Perrin shows up, right? Like I'm really because the Battle of Emmons Field to me is the best chapter of this series so far.
Yes.
In Shadow Rising, I love it so much. And then for him to not be in the entirety of the next book was like physically painful for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So physically painful as well as Swan at almost begging for friendship here, and then it shifts towards all right, we'll at least continue to get along well enough.
Yeah. And asked her to heal them again, which they say that's not how this works. Can't.
Which is weird because like Nynaeve did it by accident. She's like, that's not how it works. I'm like, Nynaeve, you don't know shit.
She tried. She tried.
No, she tries, but she's pretty convinced that it's not going to work. And I'm like, what do you gain by what? Why not?
I think if Rand were to have been the one to do it, it definitely would have made a difference. I think we might even have that happen. He might unlock them.
I don't know that Rand can heal anything. I don't know that that's an ability that Rand is real good at
Rand's gonna surprise us. I have faith in Rand. I really do. He's the one I have the most faith in to get everything right. It may have to be something very wrong that he gets right, but I have a lot of faith.
Okay.
I don't trust Red.
What's the name of this book again?
Lord of Chaos.
Good luck, Chris. Good luck.
I don't think that's referring to Rand.
You don't think? Okay. Okay. So after all this talk with Swan, we switched to Delana's point of view. Delana's. Denali.
Hey there, Delilah. What's it like in New York City?
And she's talking with Swan about the Dream Terangriel and, saying that, hey, I can swipe that for you so you can get the wise ones. And Swan leaves because all that doesn't really matter because what happens next is more important when some mystery character comes in to talk to her.
She shows her some crypt signs.
Yeah,
He's like, I got your nose.
Flash the gang signs. Yeah.
That's a crypt walk.
The thumb to finger.
You have to be very careful here because this character walked in and Clarus and I apparently this is a moment that we bullseyed. So we're not going to say anything we said the first time because apparently we figured something out.
Okay.
We're going to be
I think they did too.
Figure out.
Yeah, I think they did we did a live reaction. But yeah,
you guys got it? Okay.
Yeah, we know this is a male channel and a female body.
Okay.
Cool. We thought that as well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Halima comes in and Delana realizes she can't sense any that she can channel, so just thinks it's a regular girl. And given the dark friend signs, and like, who do you think you are? Just a low dark friend coming in here and talk to me, and quickly gets put in her place, just in words, not in power, just basically outs her as Black Aja and says, yeah, here's my story. This is why I'm
fact
here.
that there was a
You're gonna-
Black Aja this close to Swan is what really blew me away.
Mhm.
When we were listening, I was like, damn, they have infiltrated every potential spot, and they are connected so well. And
Giggity.
gosh, like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
that got me a lot.
Yeah.
Well, it really made me reconsider my marriage. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, she could be Black Aja, and I just wouldn't know. So
Could be CIA, just didn't even
Yeah.
know it the entire
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Joseph Smith kind of thing.
Be
Yeah,
careful.
just,
Yeah.
true lies. Nothing's real anymore. Nothing's real.
We do not spend enough time apart for me to hide anything from you.
But those redheads, though, you have to watch out.
I don't trust redheads.
How many beds have
I
y'all
don't either.
broken?
We bought no. Here's the thing. I'm 6'4". Okay, when you're a big boy, you
Tell me about it.
you
Yeah,
can't fuck around with that shit.
no, you can't.
Chris gets it. Chris gets it. You
My
have
poor
to,
bed.
No,
I'm 6'6" and 400. Well,
Yeah.
was 400 pounds. So
that shit has to be stable from day one. I
Higher
the number of
railings.
IKEA beds I have gone
I don't
through
do
in college.
IKEA. I know
No,
better.
you can't.
Yeah.
Those slats that
You
they
went-
pretend are gonna hold a man up, not gonna happen.
When she looked,
This is always impressive. Chris, how much are you benching right now? I know you've been here in the gym.
right now 405,
Pounds.
4 or 5.
light work.
405 pounds bench.
Light work.
Repping with about 685 on the squat. So
So that's a car. That's like a Chevrolet Volt.
Yeah, same.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't
Chris
even
is a big
imagine
Chris is a big
moving
teddy bear
those
though.
numbers.
He's like a giant dude that's just like the most
For
sweetest guy.
context, Chanel is like 5'5" and half my
His
size.
fiance.
Mhm. So you curl her is what you're saying.
Correct. Actually, I have bench pressed her. I have curled her almost. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I can
I
bench
lift
press
her-
her, but that's
I
like that's
lift her like
pretty that's a
this.
lot for me.
Like when we dance, I just like pick her up and do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for our first dance is going to be hilarious.
Her toes will
is,
never touch
'cause
the
Chris
ground.
does not dance, and she wants to have a first dance. I'm like, all right, cool. And then I go and do what I'm going to do. She's like, no, it will not be like that.
Yeah, my wife and I, we actually took dance lessons and actually did choreographed dance, which is really strange, but it was fun. Definitely is interesting.
Yeah.
We didn't attend the dancing at our wedding. We left long before everyone else was dancing. But on the
Boogity.
way out, they played one of the songs from Jersey Boys, which was the show we had just been doing on the cruise ship we were working
Yeah,
on.
so
And so we did the
like-
choreo from the show on our way out of our own wedding.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's fun.
It's great.
It's a good time.
It's great.
I bench pressed you on stream one time. That happened on video.
Yeah.
Back at the old
that
apartment.
exists somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm
I don't know why I
half
did
your
that.
size.
Yeah.
An IKEA bed, though. Well, we
No,
will
fuck no.
never. We will never.
No.
I the number of those slats I had to replace because it was all I could afford in college. But then like I ended up breaking this because the rest of the bed was pretty sturdy, but those wooden planks.
Yeah, they're stupid.
How do you have
That
sex
are
on
held
those?
in by little knobs. Like
Yeah.
little knobs don't work for me.
No.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
And I
She
cried
did.
for a little bit. And stayed single for a while, and it really messed me up.
Speaking of little knobs, so Halima's around now.
Yeah, Halima's around. Yeah, and
Yeah, she's like, hey, I'm Arengar, so
yeah.
That's like a Mufasa moment, like just
Yeah.
name drops and
Mic drop and walk out the door.
yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah, and we got Arengar from the prologue as well. I mean,
We did.
it was introduced in the prologue of this book, so it wasn't like you had to put the pieces together, obviously. But
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like a year
You
ago.
can't
for
be
us,
me
but
because
somehow
Chris
we
doesn't remember names, but Ian's really good at that. So
No, I get lucky every now and then. I wouldn't say I'm really good, but
I'm
this-
here.
This
to
one I
help you
happen.
with it.
Yeah. That's what I happen to remember.
That's why they have a veteran with us just to help. Like, hey,
Yeah.
do you remember this? This is why. Because it's not
Alan,
gonna come up
Alan
again.
prompts and Ian remembers, and Chris goes, "Oh yeah, that's right."
That's our mods. That's on our show. It's the mods because neither of us knows what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. It's things you'll get on a reread, but we're not planning on doing it. Well, at least right now, we're not planning on doing a reread. Like after we're done.
It says every book podcast until they finish the books, and they're like, I guess we start back at chapter 1.
This is a 6.5 year project.
No time.
I'm actually already doing my reread because I'm listening to the audiobook of Eye of the World.
Okay.
I will have my first.
Are you listening to the Michael Kramer one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I will have my first 2 children.
They are so sweet people too. I don't know if have you met Michael Kramer and Kit Redding yet?
No, we haven't. We've been avoiding the cons because we don't want to get spoiled.
Yeah,
you gotta go. It's worth it. They make it. I haven't
super safe.
They do a phenomenal job at Jordan Con of making sure that we know nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, because we want to go. We want to try and do an episode of our book club at Jordan.
I can't tell you how many times people like Dana Luhu and who else is on right now that Jake
everybody with
and
Usher
just
and
like everybody
don't do that.
kicked us out of rooms and like physically
awesome.
would pick us up and throw us out and like
They'll
you
stop
hear
a
somebody
panel.
go stop, like little stop. It's like, huh? Chris and
It's-
Ian are in here.
It's really interesting too, like being like in such a small circle. Like we were on a Zoom thing, and Ian was there, and Maria Simmons, who was she wrote the companion. Her name's on there right there.
Oh wow,
Maria Simmons. She's one of the writers of it. She was on the Zoom call with us, and Ian had no idea who she was, so he just starts picking on her, like because she was knitting while she was on this, like waiting for the thing to start
in a fun, cute, and cheeky kind of way.
But he had no idea who she was, and like was like, so the girl knitting, like, what do you think about this? And like everybody's like, that's Robert Jordan's personal assistant. Like,
Yeah.
Well, now I really want to know. What do you think?
no, I really want to know what.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's so funny. Yeah, we're hoping that because Jordan Con is in like April or May, right?
April.
So we're thinking we'll probably be through book I think we'll be in the Brando Sando books by then.
Yeah, they protect the first time readers too there. And like I said, Ian and Chris went. They're very Allie and Gus from the Wheel Takes. They're another first time reader podcast.
Yeah.
My fiance, no.
Yeah, they were.
We didn't get anything.
Yeah, they were rushed out of panels, like literally, like people like closed their ears and like rushed.
Like, we didn't even get to see the costume show because even that has spoilers. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
See,
so we plan on having a first time reader room next year. So
Oh, cool.
That's fun.
I love that.
Yeah, that was Chris's idea, was to have we might do a con suite. We talked about doing that, like buying a suite and just having a first time reader suite.
Oh,
a place where first time readers can hide.
Yeah, because we
hang
really
out.
want to go, but we're not gonna be done the like full thing. So we just gotta be careful.
It's fun.
I don't know how far we'll get. Honestly, like I keep thinking that we'll be done this in like 6 months, and then I'm like, wait, no, it takes us 5 weeks per book minimum.
5
and
to
that's
6.
if we don't miss one for like, because we know we're gonna miss a week in December for Comic-Con because we're gonna be in LA.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's one of those weird things where it's like I thought this was gonna take us a year, because in the beginning it was gonna be like an hour-long podcast each Friday. It was gonna be so easy, and then within like 3 episodes, it was like, all right, so it's a 2.5 to 3 hour podcast, and we also need to do shorter sections of the books because the books are like 56 chapters long, and some of those chapters are 70 pages long.
Yeah.
And they have so much stuff that happens in some chapters. Some chapters are throwaway chapters, but there definitely are some chapters that are dense.
Well, in the prologue,
Like
we were saying like we should have done the prologue of Lord of Chaos as its own episode, because it took us an hour and 15 minutes to get through the prologue on the first episode of Lord of Chaos, and I was like, we were an hour in, and I was like, we still have like 4 point of views to get through here. Like,
did we do that as one episode? It's been so long.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah,
It was a long
we did the
episode.
first 3 or 4 chapters as one episode.
Yeah, but the prologues get longer and longer. They get worse. Sorry,
and they're just
spoilers.
chapters. Like, there's nothing. What's so weird about them is that they're not really prologues.
Has
in
anybody
any
warned
traditional sense? They're just chapters.
Has anybody warned you about the last book?
The Memory of Light.
Oh, that the last chapter is.
No,
Wait,
like the big chapter.
Yeah.
That it's just really long.
It's longer than the first book of Harry Potter. Like it's one chapter. It's like
We've been told we've joked that we're gonna do. The plan is that we're gonna do because it's a 9. The last chapter, or I don't know if it's the last one.
It's not the last chapter, but
There's a long chapter that's 9 hours of audiobook,
Mhm.
and so we're gonna do a 12-hour stream where we're gonna take a dinner break, but we're gonna do all 9 hours live.
Oh, my
wow.
God.
You can listen
I
like I
don't
do,
know
put it in
about
2
that.
times the speed.
No, we do 12-hour streams on like our gaming stuff. So like it wouldn't be the first 12-hour stream we've done.
So
Yeah.
that's a lot.
But yeah, we think
That's a
we're gonna
lot.
go crazy and like, but it's gonna be like, babe, we're gonna need to put out content because this is gonna be ending, and so like we need to milk
Yeah.
it for everything we can.
Right, of course.
The only problem is after the 12 hours, you're not going to want to stop because it's not the end.
Right.
So,
We're gonna
yeah,
want to stop
that's
because we're gonna be fucking wiped out. Have you ever been live for 12 straight hours, Alan?
I have. So
It's
I
brutal.
used to do gaming before I started doing podcasting, and yes,
Mhm.
I have done long Twitch
12
streams
is-
gaming, and it's
Energy drinks and hot
It's-
pockets.
brutal.
12 is as long as I'll go now. I did 36 one time.
That's what she
Oh,
said.
no. I've
No,
never
you
done
say
that.
probably do it, Ian.
Yeah,
I've done
12 is
10 or
as long as I'll
12.
go.
I've done 10 or 12, but I've never.
Yeah, that's
Alan, kinky.
You
Yeah.
get 3 giggity.
Well done, buddy.
I now have 3 kids. And I don't have time to do long time gaming anymore. It's
This is why we're not having kids because
Yeah,
we
there
just
you
want to
go.
game longer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
more
yeah,
videos.
Purely about our gaming.
because kids do not allow that at all. It's
No.
yeah.
I love that, Brandon.
Apparently, where we are in our reading, we're like basically halfway through the series based on word count, which
Yeah.
is crazy.
Breezy, I'm sorry. We have no idea how long it's gonna be. We've already finished talking about the chapters.
Yeah.
Maybe
We're
get to the
not-
end of the chapters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
yes,
is it.
we
Yeah,
just-
it's just Asgard. It's
Is there
the end.
anything that
Yeah.
we missed that's important?
Yeah, anything that
Nothing.
Probably, but
We know
So,
there's a dark friend who is really close to Swan, and
Mhm.
at the end of the day, they've infiltrated all of the ranks, and they pretty much run the world from the behind the scenes, and we just haven't realized it yet. And
Yeah.
Rand's gonna end up flipping and becoming a dark friend at some point, and that's gonna be where shit really hits the fan. It's gonna be Rand versus Matt and Perrin. So
Oh,
With
okay.
with how deeply penetrated the dark friends are, that sounded wrong.
giggity.
I know.
Try that again.
No.
But with how deep, I'm holding to it. With how deeply penetrated the dark friends are, it's kind of shocking they haven't won. Like it really feels like
I really do feel like they should have won by now. I'm with
there's enough of them.
yes.
They
the
don't work
dark ones
together
get
well
beat.
enough. That's their
Yeah.
downfall.
That's true.
Communication.
All the dark ones.
Communication.
Oh,
Yes.
right. This is the wheel of time.
Yeah, communication.
Where you're
So-
like, this could have been an email.
So,
Yeah.
So in essence of wrapping things up, favorite character. We always do this every single week. Who is your favorite character from these chapters?
Ooh.
Ian, who was your favorite character?
Oh, you let Ian go first?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm letting you go
Gosh.
first.
I
Take
think
her. You
I'll
know you
go-
want her.
I'll go Swan.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, and
curveball.
so Nerdy hit the nail on the head, about that moment of vulnerability and when one, she's starting to recognize her feelings for Gareth
For Water.
Bryn, and then realizing her water passed, and and just I can't help but think how she just has never stopped. Even she got stilled and she's like, "F it, I'm gonna keep on going." And we know from stories in the past that men and women that can no longer channel, like they get suicidal, super depressed, and she just kept on keeping on, and now she's getting this other opportunity, and yeah, I'm liking her storyline, so I'll give this one.
Okay. Good pick, Chris.
I don't want to take the obvious. Go, you guys. Go first, Nerdy. I'll give it to you guys. Go ahead.
Ladies first.
Well, that's not fair because it's Swan for me as well.
Yeah, no,
That's good.
fine.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
I was
Like,
like trying to think. I was like, okay, who else is in this section? But I was like, yeah, Swan. I think Swan has, like you said, this is the moment that was really integral to her character for the reader, and it was really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think that Swan has my favorite moment. And I think that like Nynaeve has the most important moment in this in terms of character growth and everything like that. I think my favorite character in all of this is Logain, because he's just like, he's so cool, and he's like, oh shit, I have my power back. Girl, I'm not gonna kill you. Calm down.
Yeah.
Why are you so nervous? It's all good. And I just think that like I respect that. I think like his life has been so outside of his control, and it's so.
My question for you: do you think that the voices or the insanity that they have, do you think that's going to come back with the returning of his power?
Oh yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, because I'm a firm look from book one. I have been saying, I think that one of these books, the main plot is going to be about curing the taint. And I think that
sure.
I think that that's going to be a big plot. And I think that Logain is going to be there for that. I think he's going to be a part of it. And so I think, I do think that the taint comes back to Logain. I think he might be reset. You know what I mean? I think he might be back at like 0 with the taint.
But do you think that?
But I do think they're gonna have to cure him of his madness at some point.
Here's the thing: in the show, they make it seem like Logain has already like
mastered it.
Well,
no,
in the show, he has the voices and all of this thing, and it makes it feel like he is a little bit mad. But in the books, I don't actually know if Logain has been affected by the taint. Yeah, he's been a channeler for what, 6 years?
I think he's definitely affected by it. Okay. I just don't think he's gone full madness.
No,
much like how Rand is hearing voices, and Rand is having moments of that. I think that Logain in the show is having a moment of madness, but he's not full madness, right? And I do think that like I think Logain is back on that path towards madness for sure. Yeah. Because I think that if he's not, then moving forward, the storytelling about him has to be that he's the one male channeler that isn't mad. Like I think that drastically.
Mazrim Taim isn't.
Yeah.
Mazrim Taim is holding it off, but that's another yet, right? Like we're telling these stories of yets, and I think that the necessity of that being a danger to Logain is important to the story right now, because when they cure it, it's going to be cool, and then the Dark One's going to be like, no. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be rad.
I'd have got away with it too if it wasn't for you kids.
Like, no, they cleaned my taint. I kept my taint dirty for so long, and it's been cleansed.
All right, so Chris, I'm gonna make this harder for you and just say that Nynaeve was my close second, but not for the obvious reasons. It was for the moment that she was able to shield Logain by herself, even when he bulged on her. She was like, oh. And I mean, she was able to take everything he was giving her all by herself. And when the other guy came in,
on a girl since middle school. I'm pretty sure Apple Bottom Jeans was the #1 song the last time I bulged on a girl.
Apple Bottom Jeans.
I did some grinding to that song. There was a time when like that was the sexiest thing you could put on at like grade 7 dance.
That's true.
Low.
And the teacher, there's only one teacher with a ruler, so she could only keep one couple apart at a time. So there was plenty of time to do a little bit of dry humping in between, you know.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
She'd get you eventually, but
pants go home a different color.
School.
I was not popular at my Catholic high school with the nuns.
Or very popular, depending on how you view it.
No, the nuns didn't like me. I was popular with other people, but the nuns were like, "Hey, maybe don't do that in the chapel."
Alan, who's your favorite character?
Mine. You want mine? Tomanis. No. It wasn't even in these chapters. I always pick Tomanis. For these chapters, I don't know. Helmina. Yeah, I always like good.
The dark friend.
the Forsaken coming back. Yeah, I always
Yeah.
like Forsaken.
You
No,
would.
Throwing out gang signs. The little
So to be
thumbs.
honest
I got
with
your
you,
nose.
would.
Yeah.
Nynaeve was my first, but my second was the dark friend who has swan, like the wool over her eyes.
Delana.
Oh,
Delana.
Delana.
Yeah, Delana, whatever
Yeah,
her name
Delilah.
is. Like, you have been right next to the Amerlin seat for years, and she did not know.
Yep.
Mhm.
You are a master at your craft, and I commend you.
Well, and what was so funny when we started our podcast, we were in this position of like, I was like, the Black Aja is a thing, and our chat gaslighted us so hard into thinking that the Black Aja wasn't a thing, and that like we had made it up. And I was like,
Yep.
guys, I'm pretty sure that this is like a concept in the series. And they're like, guys,
No, there's no.
our
Black
chat was like,
Aja.
I promise you, there's no Black Aja. And it got
There's
to the
no Black
point
Aja.
where when it showed up in the books, I threw the book across the room, and I was like, I fucking knew it. These motherfuckers have been lying to me the entire time. I've been gaslit so hard.
Yep. Yep. I don't even read our chat, but Alan does that to us as well.
Mhm.
Yeah,
He actually got mad at me one time because I brought up Tom coming back to life again, and like he legit was like, "Look, guys, Tom's dead.
is no time.
Get over it. Let's move on with the story." And I'm like,
Because of
Yeah.
Yeah.
"Yeah,
Oh,
with the
wow.
game." Yeah." We immediately knew, like, felt
We knew he was
Tom
coming back. Like that was just
Oh,
Tom
yeah.
Dwight
Yeah.
on a
But
unicorn
Alan got pissed with us because we kept bringing it up.
with his chick Moraine.
See, the thing is,
Yeah.
I think that Tom coming back makes it harder for me to buy that Moraine will, because you're telling the same story twice.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now,
Moraine
granted,
coming
nobody loves repetition more than Robert Jordan. Like,
Yeah.
nobody tells the exact same story 15 times in a row like he does.
Mhm.
Maybe it'll be something cool, kind of like Qui-Gon, showing up after the fact when he's dead and, being part of the Force and being able
No,
to talk
Moraine's
to him. So
gotta
Moraine's a
come back.
Force ghost.
yeah, maybe somebody could communicate with her and she's still able to contribute.
Because then that allows Celine to come back too.
That's
Celine.
fine
Oh,
because
Lanfear,
I
yeah.
still
Lanfear.
hold on to Minfear as my headcanon.
Yeah.
So
I don't.
Minfear.
They're not gonna be a thing.
Min and Lanfear
Yeah.
are the power couple
Combined.
that Rand landed.
Oh no,
Yeah.
No, we already know
I
Rand.
think Rand would be happy with that.
That's a great one to add. I never thought about that, but we know his
Thank you.
3. Like we do
Yeah.
know his 3 at this point. Like in my mind, it's evident.
Oh yeah,
but-
no. Lanfear never actually gets with Rand, even though she like really wants to. But she realizes that Min's got to
Can
go.
you
on.
imagine though?
Well, no,
Lanfear
but
and Avienda would
him getting
murder
with
each
her and
other.
him marrying her are 2 different things. So
Well, he can't marry all 3 of his ladies, right?
Why?
Because
Why
that's
Ayu,
illegal.
Ayu can.
He
Is
can
that
marry
you?
one person at a
Yeah.
time.
Ayu
no,
can marry.
No.
he can marry as many as they want. That's
Yeah,
the
what?
whole IEL thing.
No,
The
I'm
wives can marry another
calling
wife and marry
illegal.
another wife.
Calling it
No.
illegal.
Foul.
I think
Mark
the
a
only one
foul.
he marries is Elaine, right? Because she's queen.
Oh, he's gonna marry all 3 of them.
No.
No,
can't go with the
they're all.
obvious pick.
It's no. It's
But
You know what?
I'm
You
Maybe he
know
does
what my
marry
actual
any of
prediction is?
them. Maybe Rand
Genuine
is the
prediction.
man.
Rand doesn't marry anybody.
I was about to say maybe he doesn't.
He's
he
gotta
has
marry
sex with each of
Avienda.
them one time.
He didn't have to marry anybody.
No, not that
No,
either.
Avienda's having his baby,
That
so
don't mean
he's
nothing.
got to
Rand is
marry
the
her.
man.
Oh my God, is she pregnant?
She's pregnant.
That's what we think.
That's what they think.
Ooh,
No, that's what I know.
interesting.
Here's the thing.
She's
How
preggers.
long?
One
How
and
long
done.
has it been?
How long is it?
You can't believe any of
She's
this.
excited.
They're
She
so.
left
Because she's been in cotton. She hasn't been in cotton sore, right? She's in like the slightly looser dresses, so
Yeah,
she
the-
wouldn't even show for longer, right?
Yeah.
And she's fit.
Some
Yeah.
fit girls don't get really big or show a
Yeah.
lot.
Oh shit, she could be pregnant. That would be wild. Can you
Yeah.
imagine bringing a
Welcome
baby
to
into
our
this
mind.
war?
We
You're like,
talked-
we're gonna
no.
have a baby and then we're gonna go fight the devil.
No, one of our crazy predictions
That's what
was
the maidens do.
that the baby was an integral part of the final book.
That was when I thought that this series was going to take place over like 20 years. And I thought that Rand's kid would like fight alongside him in the battle. But with how
Ooh.
slow the books are pacing out, I don't think we're going to get like a 20-year jump. Like in book
Okay.
like 2, I thought this series would be like 25
It's been less
years
than
long.
2 years since the beginning of the book. I think.
Yeah,
at
in
this
like
point.
6
Right.
books, it's like 2 years. So like I don't think there's going to be some weird time jump at some point.
Mhm.
And so at this point, I'm no longer on
why would
Rand
you
and his
bring
kids
a
are going to fight the
kid-
Dark One.
Why would you bring a kid into the world and then have that as a thing that would like hold Rand back? I think you're right. I think you have something there with the.
Mhm.
There's gonna be some like between book 7 and 8 a 3 or 4 year jump, and book 8 and 9 maybe another 3 or 4 year jump, and they have time to like with all the books we have left, they have time to spread it out.
I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be any. I don't think there's any big jumps. I have a feeling that from here to the end, it is literally like just backed up. Maybe like a few months, like some of the earlier books. But with how important the little political decisions between the kingdoms are, I think big time jumps are harder to do. Because here's the problem. Robert Jordan has done so much world building that if he did a 3-year time jump, he would have to spend like 3 chapters just explaining where everything is at.
And you don't think he would do that?
I don't.
He wrote a lot of books.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do think that we're kind of on a like. I think the train has left the station a little bit on this story, and
We're just gonna ride it out.
I think we've got like another 2 years. I think the second half of the franchise is like 2, maybe 3.
That's not enough time for him to knock all 3 of them up.
I'm not going to tell you which book it is, but there is a book that takes place, I think, over like 10 or 20 days. Like the entire book is all the events are within 10 or 20 days.
Of course.
For the entire book.
Yeah. 10 or wait, you cut out a little bit for me. Did you say 10 or 20 days or
Days.
20 years?
Yeah, days for the entire book.
And there's gonna be another book that's like 10 or 20 years.
How
Trust
much
me.
detail does he describe the 10 breakfasts that they eat? Like, and on Tuesday morning.
What the
it was-
fuck?
It was
Is it the
oatmeal
last
with
one? Is
blueberries.
it because Memory of Light is like a 20-day battle?
No, it's not. I'm not going to give too much away.
Yeah,
Just
don't-
give me that-
yeah.
I'll just-
Stop asking. You
give
don't
me
want to
that.
know.
Yeah,
I don't
they
want to
all
know, but like
I
that's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
If you're playing me,
It's literally just like Rand. It's 20 days of Rand's life in entirety. Every conversation he has in like complete written out.
Okay,
Yeah.
wait. Before we go, I have one question for Chris and Ian.
Okay.
Who
Chris,
killed
say
Asmodean?
Oh yeah.
Oh baby,
Oh,
I don't
Oh,
wanna know.
what's her
Chris.
name? Female
Yeah.
Forsaken?
Which one?
Which one?
Which one?
Grendel.
Grendel.
Do you
Oh,
think
okay.
so?
Yep.
You did say that.
But then why didn't Avienda feel it?
That's what she said.
I don't know. Maybe
This is the
maybe she
problem
didn't
with-
know to look for it.
This is the problem with it being with it being the one power, is that if it's a man, Rand was in the other room and he would have felt it, and if it's a woman, then Avienda was in the room and she would have felt someone channeled.
Now,
right?
what if it was the big the damn? It won't. The word won't come to my mind.
Shadow Haran?
Yeah, is that it?
Or
Big-
Slayer?
The big Murdrell?
Yeah, the big merger.
Yeah.
Oh.
It could be something like that.
But
What
no,
if-
but none of the Forsaken know what that thing is. So why would Asmodean? Because he hasn't been to
Oh,
show
yeah.
since it
Like-
showed
like-
up.
Yeah.
So there's
So
holes in my theory.
Slayer's an option though. Although why would Asmodean know Slayer if
Could have been the
This-
Dark One himself.
that
No,
would be bad?
fuck it. It was
That would be
Bella.
bad.
It's
No!
Bella did it.
What if it's more
Bella.
rain? Wait. What if it's more
Yeah.
rain and she's already back?
Force ghosting.
No, because that would go back to the why wasn't it felt by a female channeler?
No, but
Here's the thing. Here's the
Oh,
thing.
it could be a Forsaken not channeling.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The castle has wise ones in it. If there wasn't like a lot of power, I don't think Avienda would have any reason for concern.
There are no wise ones
feeling-
there when it happens.
They're all in the castle.
No, they're not. They're still in Kyrian.
Yeah. Yeah, the wise ones didn't come on.
He
this
hasn't
trip.
brought everyone over yet, right? Because they it's like
Just a bunch of
But it's the
Aiel and
aftermath.
Maiden.
It's the aftermath. Where
Yeah, but they
they're
haven't moved
chilling.
everybody over yet.
But no, they're
Yeah.
chilling and they're hanging out.
It's just the people the only people who are described in the scene are the people who were at the fight.
They're maidens. Some maidens. A couple
Wait.
of.
Dana brought up a good point. Asmodean knew his killer, whoever
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't
and-
think it's Slayer because Slayer is related to Lan in some way. Right?
That's what
Yeah,
we
like a
feel too.
cousin
We
or
thought it's his
something.
brother, or cousin, or something like
Because
that.
they look too similar. I hope for
Yeah.
the show they just have Daniel Henney play both characters
Mhm, mhm.
because so he
Yeah.
can like really stretch his range and maybe there's a few more shirtless scenes.
Huh.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But hey, so as to why they wouldn't have sensed any channeling, it's not impossible to have a skill where you can mask your
Oh, that's true.
channeling.
They talk about that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Mogedion can
Mogedion-
invert her weaves.
Yeah,
That's what they
yeah.
call it, right?
So
Yeah,
maybe
True.
maybe it was Mogedion.
right.
No, she's
Well,
still
I mean,
collared.
But
right,
not
it
that
could've-
point.
Not
Was
that
she calling at
point.
that point?
Yeah,
No,
she
not
was.
yet.
She had recently collared, right?
Oh, like
That
yes,
was almost
like
immediately
the
after
previous
his collar.
chapter,
Okay.
almost. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
But
But
so
it's
could be
right.
Grendel,
it,
could
it
be.
opens it up for any of the Forsaken or.
I can't believe that after how big a deal it was to end on the last book, for the next book to come back, and it's in like the 3rd chapter that Rand is like, it's crazy that Asmodean's gone. Fuck that one up. Never mentioned again.
Yeah.
No one in the entire book is like, hey, what happened to Jason? Like,
Yeah. And we were just, well, probably like everybody, but we were just like, okay, this Asmodean guy, this could be good for Rand.
yeah.
Maybe he's actually kind of turning a corner here, right? I like this. Bam.
Yeah.
Dead.
Anyways, I wanted to ask that before.
Yeah.
Light blinded.
Maybe
opens up
Rand
Pat
did
and
it.
Fane.
Yeah, there you go. Did Asmodean know Pat and Fane?
Don't know.
Pat and Fane's definitely an option.
Yeah.
Could have been
Rand
Pater.
did it.
Can I pay?
Pater could have sucker punched him.
Pater is god tier.
Could have been loose.
Pater's
Theron
got
taking
you.
over Rand's body.
Loose Theron, tell him on.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
taking over
I
Rand's
win
body.
again, Loose Theron.
So next time we'll be doing 3 chapters, guys.
Oh my god,
so-
what?
Yeah,
For the
3
4-hour
chapters.
show?
I know. So three
Sometimes.
chapters. 31, 32, 33. There's a red wax, summoned in haste, encouraged to strength are the 3 chapters we're covering. A lot of stuff happens in those chapters. Give me another good one.
Those
Actually,
are the
red-
chapters where Rand defeats the Dark One, right?
yes.
Yeah, and a Game of
Yeah.
Stones.
Yeah, mhm.
Yeah. And Batman comes back, and yeah, it's crazy.
But it's not Ben Affleck, it's Michael Keaton. It's wild, guys.
Yeah.
You're in for a wild
Oh,
ride next week.
it's insane.
Oh wait, sorry, WB canceled the Batgirl movie.
Definitely. So yeah, that would be next time. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for spending some time on a Tuesday night with us.
thank
this
you.
was-
Appreciate
It's a
you.
lot of fun. How can people find you, support you? I know our mods have been like sharing your stuff in
Yes.
chat the entire night.
Thank
but
you.
Thank you, mods.
how can people find you or support you? Any of the above.
Yeah, so if you go to the yellow pages, we're on page
Oh my
273.
God, no one has
Uh,
the
You know,
ability.
these Gen Z people don't know what yellow pages are.
I'm sitting on them right now to make myself look taller.
Do you think that you have a Gen Z audience
No.
for the Wheel of Time?
No, I don't.
I like
I was like, I'm pretty sure
Red Box is all about
everyone who watches
spanking.
our show is older than us.
Yeah, I think so. Probably. Well, I mean, around our age. I mean, we're well, I don't know. Chris is our
folks younger
youngest
than us.
one. You know, we're in our
Yeah.
30s.
No, the best way to find us is to go to at Nerdy Nightly across the internet or at
Claris Polaris.
Um,
and just come check out book club if you're a fan of the books.
yeah, the Nerdy Word Book Club streams live every Friday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time
Mhm.
on youtube.com/c/nerdy nightly. And it goes up on the podcast feed if you want to listen to it.
Mm.
But most people like to watch it because I don't know. It's a wild show. If you thought that we were sexually inappropriate on this program, please know that we are worse on our own.
Yeah, we were mildly behaved today.
I was gonna say I didn't feel like you guys were inappropriate at all.
Yeah, well, we didn't bring up any of our own sexual exploits today, so that was
That's a
an
win for us.
improvement.
We did it. Good job.
We threw him a
Bob,
curveball with SpongeBob finger blasting. That really threw him off.
I think
Yeah.
so.
I will say, if you are the kind of person who enjoys that, the final segment of our show is the Smut Corner, where we add sex scenes to the book,
Mhm.
and about 12% of our audience leaves because that's not what they're there for. Which is why
That's
it's
awesome.
the last segment.
That's amazing.
Shoot me
Yeah.
a message when it starts. That's when I want to tune in.
Yeah, it was really funny when I was like going through the analytics of book club, and I was like, it's so weird. Like the same
This
amount
weird,
of
like,
people
drop-off.
leaves at the same point every show, and I was like, oh, it's literally Smut Corner. Like people literally are like, and I'm done.
Yeah.
This
It's
is
your
where they go
former-
too far.
I
Your
don't.
former
I don't.
teachers, all those nuns, they're like, can't watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you are my former teacher and you watch my stuff, please let me know. I would that would bring me so much joy.
Look at me now.
Well, yeah.
Wait. One more thing, really quickly. If you're into D&D, on I don't know when you guys drop the podcast version of this.
Tuesdays mornings.
Oh, so next Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be the 20th. Tonight, the day that this drops on the podcast feed, or a week from today if you're watching the YouTube video, we are doing a celebratory D&D one-shot for our anniversary
Mhm.
because we don't like to take time off. We're going to be doing the bridal party in the case of the kidnapped groom. Clarus is going to be on it. I'm going to be DMing it. Star Wars author Sam Maggs is going to be one of the players. Danielle De Nicola, the incredible cosplayer, and the incredible Twitch streamer Chaotic Neutral Goblin come through on Tuesday, the 20th. That night, we're going to be doing a very fun D&D one-shot. If you want to come celebrate our anniversary with us.
Yeah.
Yay.
Awesome.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Awesome.
That's where all of our viewers will be.
And now for our quick plugs. So coming up for us, we definitely have our Tuesday nights. So we're going to continue doing those. But on Friday, if you guys want to come back to our YouTube station on Friday night, we do once a month do a game show on YouTube. It is a Wheel of Time game show. It is called What of Fortune. It is Wheel of Fortune with Wheel of Time prompts. And we have other content creators, and you guys probably can come on if you guys want to play. But this Friday, we have both the Will Weaves and the Will Takes, both first-time reader podcasts coming on to play Wheel of Fortune, where we just kind of give them really horrible prompts and just laugh the entire time. But it's a lot of fun. So that's Friday night at 10 p.m. because of time zones and those kind of fun things. So I'll be on the 16th. Yeah, 10 p.m. So come check it out. Other than that, find us at willreads.com. You can find links to everything, our merchandise, our Patreon, our Discord. Join. It's a wonderful community. And feel free to leave reviews right there on our website. There's a spot for that. So we do enjoy reading those even if they're bad. Actually, I enjoyed the bad ones better than the good ones.
They're entertaining.
They are my favorite one still this day, and I don't know if you guys still listen to us. Whoever left this one was that. Yeah, these guys are functional alcoholics. What was it? 5 out of 10 stars.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all it said. I was like,
Thank
first
you. Of all, you're not wrong. Okay.
At least you're functional.
Yeah.
It could be worse.
Yeah, it's,
Yes.
yeah. But yeah, so they give us still half a.
And thanks for getting us over 500 subscribers on YouTube, guys.
Yeah.
No, let's go.
Yeah,
thanks,
we
guys.
appreciate you.
Yeah, we're fledgling on the YouTube things. It's new for us. We were a podcast for years, and then we decided to jump over to the YouTube side of things. And the YouTube algorithm hates these long form live shows, but
We don't care.
it is what it is.
We're not in it for
Yeah.
anything more than have fun.
I'm
Yeah.
having fun with it when I have
Exactly.
good internet.
I'm not gonna lie. As someone who has some stuff that does do well in the algorithm, sometimes it's better not to. The comments on some of our videos.
I will
I'm
say
sure.
5 is my favorite number. So when we get to 505, I want to give something away.
Oh, bro, that's gonna happen probably pretty soon.
So like in an hour.
Like now, I don't know what are
Aren't
we
you
at
at
right
like
now?
50?
We're at 501.
501?
Like and subscribe, guys.
No, like and subscribe. All right. So that's all I got from this week, guys. So
Until next time.
Peace.
okay, bye.